Everybody ready? Good morning, everyone, and welcome. And another great day here in Manatee County. Got some needed rain last night, and thank God we didn't have any flooding here in Manatee County. Our public works guys were well prepared for last night, so we appreciate all the hard work they were doing, cleaning out all the canals and the creeks and making sure our stormwater was running good and our lift stations didn't go offline. So we had a good night last night. So as we do always here in Manatee County, we always open every one of our meetings by honoring God and our great nation. And this morning we have Pastor Wendy Thompson with us of Glory Cloud Ministries. She'll be doing the invocation, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by retired Navy Commander and Deputy County Administrator Brian Parnell. So if anyone would please rise.
Thank you. Good morning. Father, we just thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you, Lord, for your presence filling this place and your presence of your Holy Ghost touching each one here, Lord. I just release the peace of God that passes all understanding to everyone here. I release your love, your peace, and your joy to take the place of anything that's troubling them, having on their mind, that be lifted off of them today, Lord. Guide them and lead them and direct them by your righteous word, Lord. Guide them into the truth. Guide them into peace. Guide them into unity, Lord God, and that you be lifted up all the time, not just this one day, but all the time in everyone's life, Lord. You be lifted up so they can know and have peace and understanding in everything they put their hands to, Lord God. And we thank you again for being in this room and your presence and filling every heart and drawing them closer to you, Lord, for time is short. And we thank you again. God bless you all. In Jesus' name, amen.
Good morning, all. If you'll join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. We appreciate your words and your prayer this morning, and thank you, Commander Parnell, for your service and to the county. What we're going to do right now is that this is the start of budget season, and we're all very excited about that. So this morning I'm going to turn it over to County Administrator Charlie Bishop to take us forward.
Yeah, thank you,
County
Chair.
Administrator.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, so we have Sheila McLean and her team going to give a presentation of the recommended FY25 budget and decision unit review. As you're well aware from previous budget meetings, this is not an easy lift. Sheila and her team's been doing this diligently now for months on end, meeting with each and every department. So we're pleased to present this budget and its recommendations. But before we do that, we have a little video. Again, a team effort. I want to thank Lacey and Casey for putting this presentation on. You'll recognize some of the members as we go throughout the video.
Hi, it's Charlie Bishop. I'm pleased to give you a look at Manatee County's fiscal year 25 recommended budget that represents our dedication to investments in growth and development and enhances the quality of life for all citizens of Manatee County. With a net recommended budget for fiscal year 2025 of $1.2 billion and a capital improvement budget for fiscal years 25 through 29 of $2.3 billion, we're proud to present this brief overview of a budget that focuses on long-term growth, equitable opportunities, and environmental stewardship. With that, here's Manatee County Director of Human Resources, Kate Barnett.
Doing work that matters isn't just a catchy tagline. It's a core value that drives everything we do here in Manatee County. Our commitment to hiring and retaining the best employees is stronger than ever, and we understand that supporting our workforce means ensuring their well-being and financial security. That's why we're recommending a nominal increase of premiums to cover the rising healthcare and medication costs and a salary increase to address our cost of living. Our goal is to not only meet but exceed market standards, recognizing the exceptional value and contributions that each employee brings to Manatee County.
Safeguarding Manatee County against evolving cyber threats, particularly ransomware attacks, are at the heart of our continued investment in cybersecurity and technology. To do that, an investment of $2.5 million is recommended for this fiscal year. This includes modernizing our infrastructure and security system enhancements, that will ensure the continuity of essential services and operations.
Our public safety department makes significant progress to address the growing needs of our community while ensuring the safety and well-being of our residents. That's why we recommended a budget of $57.3 million. This reflects our request pending BOCC approval for additional key positions, operational investments that support the success of the soon-to-be-completed John Marble Recreation Center, as well as wildly popular generational impact projects like Light Up Manatee that focus on safe communities and well-lit environments. In addition, the recommended allocation of $11.1 million for generational impact projects demonstrates a commitment to addressing homelessness and providing transitional housing for veterans within the county.
Manatee County is investing approximately $16 million in healthcare programs that cover specialty care, mental health, and continued efforts to fund indigent healthcare through the low-income pool. $10.8 million has been placed for continuation of programs that address opioid use using additional funds that were received from the state of Florida related to the opioid settlements.
Within our capital improvement plan, we have 4 large sheriff's office projects currently in construction, with additional funding totaling $83.2 million. These recommendations are supportive of the sheriff's operations and align with the board's goal of a fully funded sheriff's department. Several key government building improvements have been identified in this year's capital improvement plan, including the Rocky Bluff Library expansion.
As our business and population grow, it's crucial for Manatee County to keep up and ensure our residents continue to enjoy a high quality of life. Our recommendation is $785 million in transportation improvements over the next 5 years. This includes several intersection improvements and upgrades like 63rd Ave East at 9th Street, along with Ellington Gillette and Mendoza Road, that focus on giving Manatee County citizens more time with their families and less time in traffic. Our recommendation also has a major emphasis on road improvements like the Big Six, plus additional featured road projects like 44th Ave East and Moccasin Wallow, as well as sidewalk projects that foster safe and accessible communities. With many families moving to Manatee County and an increasing number of residents utilizing our services, it's important that we remain committed to being the premier place to live, work, and play. Our recommendation to the board is an investment of $269.2 million in sports and leisure services.
These funds will be used for everything from field lighting and splash pads to pickleball courts, swimming pools, and preserves. These improvements will go a long way in continuing to make Manatee County a top recreation destination regionally and throughout the nation.
Serving Manatee County citizens, residents, and guests, coupled with the board's vision of enhancing our community livability, is why we do work that matters. And we look forward to opportunities to discuss our recommendations in upcoming work sessions. By prioritizing roadway enhancements, infrastructure, and improvements to parks, preserves, and recreation centers, we're laying the foundation for a vibrant and sustainable community that benefits all generations, right here in the premier place to live, work, and play.
Well done.
Yeah,
Very tan.
that call went to voicemail.
Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, county administrator, deputy county administrators, and citizens of our county attorney, and citizens of Manatee County. Welcome to the presentation of our FY25 budget recommended budget. We want to welcome you, first of all, and discuss with you a set of work sessions that we are starting to initiate in today's kickoff meeting. A set of 3 days of work sessions discussing department budgets, constitutional budgets, Part 1, Part 2, followed by the capital improvement plan on Tuesday, and the discussion of several of the new projects that are upcoming into this capital improvement plan, followed by the utilities budget, as they are so large in nature. We would have to separate those into their own separate day. And in the discussion, finally, with the fund summaries, all the funding sources that the county has in order to make all this happen for all the services and infrastructure investments into the county. Thank you, Patty. Like our county administrator said, our county's budget for FY25 recommended budget is the net budget is $1,268,568,185. This one represents all the external budget for all the levels of services that the county offers to all the citizens of Manatee County, followed by a total gross budget of $2.4 billion, which includes all the levels of service, inclusive of all of our internal services and our reserves. To go even further, our capital improvement plan, fiscal year 25 through 29, is comprised of $2.3 billion, which includes additional investments in funding for existing and new planned projects. An investment for fiscal year 25 of $560 million into the capital improvement plan. We are bringing a total in the capital improvement plan of 738 projects, of which 59 are brand new projects, which represents 44%. This investment represents 44% of the total net budget. This shows that Manatee County has exceptionally strong financial profile. I want to discuss then a little bit about the financial planning. This is not an effort it's an effort that involves all the departments, all the commissioners, all of our administrator and employees and staff, and I want to thank them all for all their help and support into this completion of this budget as we initiate the first process of this budget. Talking about budget planning, it involves in our side implementing a strategic plan that aligns to the board's initiatives and strategies. And I have placed them in 5 steps because these ones are really the ones that depict how we do our budget. Number 1, we identify each one of our projects programs a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that each one of their programs are presenting. They assess those needs and then they analyze and see if there's other levels of service that we can enhance into this community. And then they place it into their budget as a recommendation to the board. The second step would be to improve, recognizing that every year we have to be better than we were in the previous year in providing services, achieving increasing levels of services to this growing community. Seeking funding opportunities, because there's not all the money in the world to go around. I know the fantastic directors of this county, of all the departments and the board are looking for opportunities, grant opportunities, legislative opportunities, additional funding that can help us get to where that growth is taking us. Step number 3 would be to innovate. We understand that we are moving into an era of improving our processes through artificial intelligence, digital era, more electronic, and this is what we are trying to do to be the innovators in Manatee County to make services better and, as a result, faster responses times, etc. Moving on into implementation. That's the management and the Board of County Commissioners' goal, right? Doing an engagement plan that establishes timelines for each of these actions from start to end. Set performance indicators to measure program. And finally, success. Success is to achieve the intended levels of service for the community, keeping community informed at this point that is hard labor to put yourselves out there and share to the community all the good things that we are doing and have done. Recapping a little bit into the budget process, this is a 9-month budget process. I mean, to a financial management, it's an 11-month budget process only because we start the prep work before even the departments come into play. I see these as a little stepping stool. Starting with our fiscal year 25 is the second year of the biennial cycle. So we are we have already a plan 25 that was looked at, not approved, fully approved last year while we were going through the process. But this year we have kind of like come back and explored all the changes that this plan needed and added some new adjustments. This kind of like set the initial work. As we move along the stepping stool, the department identifies the needs at which level of decision units within their programs. Preliminary entries are done, positions are being authorized, and these are all behind the scenes, I know, but it is nonetheless a very important stepping stool into what's going to come forth. Once we move into the third step, and at this point, we're already into a 6-month process before we even come to the commissioners. The departments start meeting with the county administrator, every director of every department to explain their needs, and decision makings are being made at that point, understanding the concept of their budgets. Then we get into the budget reconciliation and final budget as adopted. This is with the initiation of the June, which is where we are, board sessions, and where we present the budget to the commissioners. At this point, they become part of the budget, and then now they are the ones that have the final decision-making on approving the budget. I cannot go without talking about or discussing the challenges that we are facing in this budget. We all know that it is a very hard way from one step to another, but we are being proactive as Manatee County to mitigate the impacts and find solutions. Don't give me the problem, but give me the solution as well. And that's what we are doing for the citizens of Manatee County. But the first challenge that we are finding, and this is not in any particular order of importance, they are all our challenges that we are facing individually. It's employee recruitment, retention, and compensation. We have actually in this FY25 recommended budget 2,479 positions that we have to deal with on this budget. The economic conditions are driving us to have loss of talent to other municipalities. We are competing for bright and talented professionals with other municipalities. Also, remote work and teleworking is bringing and making international entities our workforce competitors. That didn't used to happen before. So we are having to find, and Human Resources is doing a fantastic job at trying to address these concerns and finding things to mitigate. And we will be talking about those throughout the budget. The number 2 would be rising costs in the supply chain and inflation. This is from the smaller things to the larger things in the operations budget as well as in the CAP, from operating supplies to chemical costs to contracting, is simply leading us to an increase in the cost of our services that we offer. Nonetheless, the economic conditions, a volatile market, fluctuating interest rates present a very challenging. The uncertainty of this market is leading to higher rates. For the capital improvement plan, this presents a challenge as we are trying to leverage our own resources with debt financing. And it is common for all municipalities all over the nation to be doing this. Increasing cost in affordable housing markets. we're still trying to face the effects that the Leave Local Act, Senate Bill 102, that was approved in 2023, is going to create for Manatee County. Affordability of housing in Manatee County is a topic in many counties, not only in Manatee County, and it's something that is being addressed very far higher than even Manatee County. We are trying to be the ones that participate in addressing these needs with assistance from programs to SHIP, CDBG, HOME, trying to partner with private organizations to be able to assist in some of the funding that provides affordability for housings and in this county, as well as address homelessness in this county. Labor shortage, that hinders the capacity to complete these projects timely. Competing on sharing with local businesses and municipalities for the same pool of workforce and vendors, making the capital improvement plan a little bit of a challenge. And finally, to me, because I'm a financial person, it's the most important, it's the balance to meet demands with funding capabilities. We all know that we are not the Federal Reserve. We cannot print the money in the basement, and we just don't have enough to go around. So we have to place a conservative output into the future. We have to look not at what today brings us, but if it's going to work into the future. This is maintaining fiscal stewardship, and this is what the board is striving for, or strives for every day. Now, let's start diving into our budget. Transparency and fiscal accountability, these are the resources and initiatives that are funded and designated to this budget countywide. All across the budgeted 105 funds, this is the departments and programs looked at in detail, looked at in a summary at a higher level of what are the programs and the entire array of programs at a very high level. Knowing that our reserves, of course, are the highest in the lineup. Transfers and capital outlay, the capital improvement plan, we know that the following one is the sheriff. It's the highest of the funding levels of service that the county pays for. And so forth, you have the most expensive and highest efforts with utilities, following public works, following with human resources, and so forth. I'm not going to go all the way in the lineup, but this gives you an idea. The FY25 recommended budget is broken. We're going to be looking over the work session is broken first into the business operations. This is our day-to-day levels of programs, levels of service in the programs that we service. We have 14 departments and 79 programs that we are going to be looking at in this budget throughout the upcoming work sessions. And also, we would be looking at the capital improvement plan. The capital improvement plan is a comprehensive report on infrastructure development for those that are new to the county. It includes road improvements, parks, buildings, preserves, water, sewer, bridges, intersections, and public safety. These are infrastructure investment that the county is placing all throughout the county, not only in one district, but all around. The elements of the fiscal year 25 recommended budget that total $2.4 billion at this point. It is, so I have seven of them broken in categories. The departments and programs operational cost is $616 million in the funding of the budget, followed by other programs. These other programs, as we will be discussing, are those we call other county-funded programs, healthcare. We do the community redevelopment agencies. We do the port. We do several things. The port will be brought forward into the proposed version of our budget. It's not placed in the recommended, as they don't bring it to their own board until August. followed by the constitutional officers at $244 million. And I really want to be very specific. This is only bringing the sheriff, the supervisor of elections, the property appraiser at their flat budget, because they have not brought forward their budget until the next proposed version in August 1st. We will be showing the changes that will transpire into their budget. But at this point, they still remain flat. The tax collector, well, that one is ruled by Florida statute. It is a formula based on collections of the ad valorem taxes, so it is something we don't control. It is adjusted in this budget. Yes, sir.
CFO, on this page here with the countywide expenses, their tax collector for right now is one issue, tax collector and tax collector. Are those two different budget items?
So, good question. So there is, by Article 5 under Florida statute, we are supposed, as the county and the main authority, we are supposed to fund their additional costs. When it is buildings, maintenance of those buildings, any technology that they may have, and so forth, other little like the utilities that go into that building and all that. Property management also supports with enhancing all their buildings and all the remodeling, whatever it is that building may need. That's what those support costs are.
So the main budget is anything operational funds, employees, and everything else is done outside.
Yes, that's the share that we are supposed to provide by statute. Yes, without any. And it's associated with their where they buildings and so forth where they are housed.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Moving forward, also into the debt service, there's $64 million. This is to pay the outstanding debt service and interests on both on the enterprise for utilities debt and the governmental side as well. And then transfers and capital outlay, they go side by side because those transfers are really basically, and this is an accounting thing. We're supposed to put the revenues coming to one funding source, and to fund projects, we have to move the monies into those projects from one side to another. So those two go hand in hand. And then, of course, finally, to show the reserves. And I will be talking more in detail about our reserves. It's a total of $841 million, all across our 105 budgeted funds. So in our business operations budget, like I spoke about, there's one of the main sections of our budget. We have 14 departments and 79 programs. We break them down by department and then other funded county programs. We have the courts, since we own the judicial center, we are bound by the costs that involves. We do the judicial programs, which are the county court administration, the state attorney, public defender, guardian ad litem. Then there's efforts such as economic development. We have we place budgets for those. General government, these are more countywide cost in nature, like it is our auditors and costs such as that we have pledged. Then other community services, these are more like the adult services, I'm going to say the street lighting districts, but those are being eliminated. Healthcare programs. Community and Veteran Services has some features of the healthcare programs, and then public safety owns the other portion. That's why they're broken down into different ones with that identifier. And then we have the miscellaneous programs. Those are more like the MPO, Palmer, all those fundings that we are placing in there. Nonprofit agencies for the youth, children's services. And then we have the constitutional officers' budgets. As additional, yes.
Quick question on that. So we have constitutional officers under departments and programs, but then it's broken out again under its own separate element.
Courts and judicials are not you mean, is that what you mean?
No. Down at the bottom, you have constitutional officers
Yes.
under other county-funded programs, but then it's its own separate element, like outside of departments and programs. Do you see what I mean? If you go back.
Yes. Because I was showing it, breaking it down, but it is the other programs 2 and 3 in the previous slide, you mean, right? 2 and 3 are part of the other county funded programs as a whole. That's how our system breaks it down, kind of like the label itself. So to put additional topics into the business operations, it's important to establish how many positions have been recommended based upon approval of the board. It's 21 positions. There was a total of 133 positions that were requested into the budget, but the real need that the departments established amounted to 21 new positions. Community and Veteran Services with 1 increase, Convention and Visitors Bureau with 2, Property Management with 2, Public Safety with 9, Public Works with 3, Sports and Leisure with 1, and Utilities with 3. As we go through the budget, you will have the departments come and present their budgets to you, and there are some unfunded items that they will perhaps defend or not defend, depending on what they their needs and their thoughts after have been. Also, talk about a little bit what the video talked about with Ms. Barnett, Director of HR. Health insurance recommendation is an increase of 1%. This one is only to address the constant increase in medications and medical cost. We just cannot look away, and this fund has performed really well. However, we can just not look away and deplete our reserves. It's a little bit of support every year to make it all work together. And then, of course, the salary compensation for our workforce. It's an investment of $12.8 million to investing in our existing workforce via a cost of living adjustment. This will be implemented in 2 phases, one of which will reward longevity. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the health insurance because it gives a little bit of a base. That 1%, how much does that amount to? We know that there's a year after year we have the cost of living raises, but the 1% is not proportionately the same amount. And it has no relation with one to another. 1%, and let's look at the 4 tiers that our health insurance brings in. For an employee only, this increase of 1% only represents $11 out of an employee's pocket in a yearly basis. On a monthly basis, it's only 92 cents. For an employee with family, independently of whether they have 1 child or 10, is still $50.16 on an annual basis. The employer is the one that carries the major lift, as Manatee County utilizes this as one large, significant benefit for the employees, and it's a great retention tool. 82% of the health insurance cost is paid by the employer. 18% is paid by the employee. In today's world, we know that healthcare is very expensive, and the total annual cost of a health insurance under our employee and family, can you move to the next slide? Thank you. It's $28.3 thousand. It's $28,000. And for the employee, they only pay $5. And I'm just going through the largest tier, the one that has the employee and family. For one employee that only carries their own insurance, it's only $1,108 a year for such a robust and significant health insurance that we carry. All right, so let's talk about our main fund, the general fund. And when I say this is our main fund, I call the general fund our chief operating fund, because this one carries a lot of the weight in determination of solvency. This is what the rating agencies evaluate and monitor closely each time they do their semi-annual or annually evaluation for financial solvency and financial profile. So let's talk about the general fund and the expenses and the uses that are within it. We all know that the largest impact of the budget and the general fund is the sheriff, which represents in this budget is 29.4%. And this doesn't even represent the increase that they will be bringing forward in August in the proposed version. This is just only at the flat, same as last year, status quo budget. General fund, sorry. We talk about the general fund because this one is the most unrestricted fund use. We have to be conscientious on how to spend it, on how to use it, because shortfalls in this fund can have larger repercussions in the long term. So there's consideration about rating agencies, and when they are rating the capacity and the solvency of the county as a whole, one of the factors in their assessment is, has the general fund sustained declined reserves due to budgetary short imbalances? This is all that they say every single time. So watching this fund as the chief operating fund is significant for the well-being of the county as a whole and for our rating. Of course, knowing that we live in a coastal community and storms can affect us, and red tide can affect us, and flooding can affect us, this is the fund that can help perhaps, help with that challenge at this point, even helping the utility department, who normally is the one that takes the hit for real large events, storm events, with their debris removal and so forth, which is a really big lift for the utility department. So let's talk about the capital improvement plan, something that everybody loves, everybody follows. The capital improvement plan, our capital cycle will be funded with county ample reserves and debt. This is what we establish every time. The capital improvement plan is a $2.3 billion increase in investment into the capital improvement, inclusive of existing projects that we already have active out there. We have a total of $5.3 billion in total. For 25's adoption of the budget, we are bringing an investment of $560 million. And some of the projects, a brief overview of featured projects continuing into this budget and new, is the county parking garage, Rocky Bluff Library expansion. We continue with the Premier Sports Complex swimming pool and its pickleball and racquetball center. Continuing with some of the Big Six projects at 59th Street, 4-lane from Cortez to Manatee Avenue, 63rd Avenue, 4-lane US 301 to Tuttle, 75th Street West, 4-lane 20th Avenue West to Manatee Avenue, Lena Road, Lorraine Road, Upper Manatee River Road projects, Erie Road projects, Moccasin Wallow Corridor, and Canal Road Corridor, all totaling. In total, we have 738 total projects into the capital improvement plan. We will be discussing this on the June 8th work session more in detail. We will go over those 50 9 new projects that are coming on board and showcased into the CIP plan. 112 of existing projects are needing additional funding. We all know, and we talked about challenges. The cost of all these projects, when they actually come at 60% design or even ready to be shovel ready, those GMPs are coming significantly higher. And it is just an impact of our economic market and economic conditions out there. When we talk about the CIP, it is important to talk about also about the factors that can affect performance and execution in the capital improvement plan. And let me just say that not one size fits all, but it fits most. When we talk about the challenges of funding, we will be talking about debt financing plan. What are the funding restrictions that we have in our own resources? There's always good news. There's always bad news. We're still challenged with inflation. We're still in challenge with availability of workforce and materials and equipment. The final implication is that most of these projects will end up being an operating cost to the counties, and those will be recurring impacts to the county. So in discussions throughout the CIP is also the discussion of how can we afford it in the long term? Staffing, maintenance, and equipment. Discussing the diverse funding sources that contribute to the capital improvement plan, we break the capital improvement plan into 2 sections, the governmental and the enterprise. And that would be because the enterprise funds all of their projects with rates or facility investment fees, which are like impact fees. But those are have to have a different type of vetting, a different type of evaluation on the rates that are being funded, that are funding and charged to the user for being able to absorb this capacity, not only on the operational side, but also in the capital improvement plan. When I look at these first 2 lines into the sources, debt proceeds, we have placed a debt financing plan, and we will be talking about this in the capital improvement plan work session. But it is important that the board understand the capacity and sufficiency that this CIP is bringing forward. Everything else is being funded by our own PAYGO, is what I call it, our own reserves. And there's a lot of investment that we are placing with our own reserves. This has been the commitment of the board, and they have done just exactly what they have promised, utilize those. The challenges that this having a diversity of funding sources places into the CIP is that we have to understand the constraints of each one of those funding sources. And when we talk about funding summaries between the afternoon of the 18th and on the 19th in the afternoon, I will be laying those carefully so you understand that it's, like I said, it's not a one-size-fits-all. I can't fund projects with certain type of funding sources. So the struggle is having to swap the funding source that best fits the project need and the project concept and the nature of it all as a whole. Now let's talk about uses. How are we funding? What are the multiple categories that to service different investments? Okay. When I said we break the CIP into governmental and enterprise, right? For the fiscal year 25, we have an investment on the governmental side of 70%, and on the utilities is 29%. But as you see, moving forward into the 25 and 29, 26, 27, 20, 29, the percentage swaps. There's now 59% of utility projects in the CIP plan, and this one is because it's addressing capacity needs. is the expansion projects that are coming on the utility system. But those are being evaluated. When I talked about rates, the rates are being evaluated right now. For the last 2 years, we have faced rates increases. And then we are continuing to analyze capacity and needs and how can we fund all of it. Significant and very important to say that the growth that the county is sustaining is also bringing additional growth to our own resources. And that's what's actually helping us to bridge that gap to be able to fund a lot of these initiatives. So are we taking advantage of the growth to complete what we said we would complete? Yes, definitely. Definitely. Are we accounting for that into the future? No. This budget is very conservative. This board is very conservative, and we have taken into we know that growth takes 2 years, so approximately to take its course. So after the 26 budget, we have kind of like brought conservatively the projections of all of our funding sources a little bit down, trying to take it down to a more considerable. Let's get back to where we knew we were before all this growth, that has unforeseen growth and never seen growth that we've seen in the county, and other counties have seen as well in Florida, because everybody wants to come to live in Florida. So this impact is broken down mainly into what I call the 4 categories, right? Transportation, we know that is the largest category in the CIP, followed by public safety, followed by the general government. All those in the general government, we have the projects of the county parking garages. That's the one that mainly is supported by the general government. And then, of course, libraries. So let's talk about millage. Very important topic. Does anybody know how much total revenue is our ad valorem? How much revenue does the ad valorem bring into our county? Our total revenues, 35% is in ad valorem. So is this an important discussion to talk about millage? Yes, it's significantly important. The recommendation of the FY25 budget is a no millage increase. Of course, we have started the process. This is the first touch of the budget for the commissioners. So it would be notwithstanding not to say that it is your capacity, in your capacity to kind of like evaluate this and make your own recommendations and approval. The assessed values are estimated growth at 10% in this budget. We already know that the property appraiser has brought in an estimate, but we will be seeing forthcoming into the proposed budget, because July 1st is when they finally certify the correct number. What they proposed and estimated the first time go around was that 10%. As per TRIM, July 1st is when they're supposed to come back and actually say this is the actual percentage increase. Save Our Homes will continue to be capped at 3% because CPI is higher than it. Save Our Homes caps it at the lowest of the two. CPI is at 5%. The amount, and this is just a little bit of a tidbit, the amount reduced from ad valorem revenues due to Save Our Homes in our tax roll 2024 is a total of $20.2 million. These are the monies that the county is not receiving because we're capping that 3% at Save Our Homes. Also, it's very important. Our millage currently, our countywide millage is 6.2326. In an average household in fiscal year 25 is considered to be at the assessed value of an average household is at $350,000. As a CFO, it is my job to always establish that our budget, our CIP, as far and as robust as our CIP is, any changes into the budget, especially in millage, will bring significant financial implications into the budget. We will start to have budget cuts, and mainly it will have to happen into the capital improvement plan significantly, because this is a compounding effect year after year. For the last 2 years previous to fiscal year 24, the board approved 2 changes in millage reduction at a rate of 0.5, 0.30 and 0.2, which adds up to the 0.5. With all factors considered, keeping in mind what I just said, in the overall, it is, I have to talk about changes in millage if the board, to help facilitate the conversation for the commissioners within themselves too. Yes, sir.
Sheila, yeah. I mean, I think we've got 2 things going the wrong direction for us, probably, right? The cost for CIP right now is still escalating, so this would be risky. And also, the predicted growth, 10% increase in the revenue, the ad valorem. I mean, the economy is faltering right now. What's our economic advisors say about, say, going into the next year? Because we're seeing a flattening in real estate. The resale side is really, and potentially it's coming down somewhat. So is the 10% a safe number? Or are you saying they're revisiting it in July? Increase?
So the 10% was the estimated amount of that the property appraiser, as he's working through the assessing the values of in the county. But the actual true number that they have to provide, it's going to be set. It's coming July 1st. That there is their requirement for TRIM to provide to the main authority that final number.
So we can better assess then.
Yeah, it normally comes in a little bit higher, which it will be significantly a good benefit for the capital improvement, as robust as it is right now.
Okay.
So in considerations on the millage reduction as a financial impact, let's talk about what would a 0.05 millage reduction signify to the general fund only. The general fund is the only one that gets impacted by a reduction in millage. 0.05 mils will be, it's a reduction of general property taxes of $3.4 million, while the 0.10 will be 6.8 reduction, while 0.15 it's 10.3, while 0.0 it's of almost $14 million reduction. This is just on the first year, the impact. The second year and the third year will be a duplicated, triplicated effort because it's compounding. Now, I'm showing you what the impact is to the county. Now let's look at the impact that it'll do to a homeowner. When I said an average household assessed value is in Manatee County is $350,000, the savings that they will see in each one of those reductions, on the first one at 0.05, it will be $17.50 in a household. $35 at a 0.10. 0.5 would be at $52.50, and a 0.20 would be at $70 reduction out of there. And technically, it's not a reduction; it's an offset of their increase, as the assessed values are going higher every year. This just is going to impact that increase, not offset a reduction of what they currently pay. So I'm going to give a little bit of overview at our outstanding debt, because I can't talk about future needs without talking about our current debt. right? Because that helps us to plan and understand a future plan and how it can get structured. As a summary, as we know, in the last 2 years, we have brought in forward it has been 3 new on the general government and 1 new on the enterprise side, on the utility side, bond issuances. The total outstanding debt is $864 million, of which 56% of that is in the general government and 44% is on the utility side. We have managed, and this is because of to secure low interest rates, because market and county's bond rating. The county's rating is right now a AAA. So what that secures for us is higher premiums, lower interests, and we are confident that our county's solid financial position and overall financial performance is strong. This is what our rating actually establishes, and this is what our bond rating agencies assess in their documents every time that they do their monitoring. But debt service is all about leveraging time and balancing your pay go. We're just not saying, oh, let's just all toss it in debt. That's not how we balance our budget. We first balance our reserves. We see how much there is to give in our pay go, and then we establish a debt plan. I will be discussing much further into that on the capital improvement plan because the one with the other tie in, and there are some threats that we need to discuss and opportunities into our debt financing plan that could lead us to success to bring these projects all the way to fruition. Our financial advisor, Prag, he has been putting a really forthcoming evaluation for us in conjunction with financial management. We have evaluated projects, phases of the projects, and the needs as those projects start kind of like getting closer to needing those dollars, whether you go into stage 1, design, which is normally where we would like those projects to be. But at this point, it's important that we talk about bond ratings, right? And the overall scheme of things, the way that we finance is the way that we are rated. You don't go out there and borrow if your credit is bad. You go there and borrow when your credit is good or is better or is excellent. And this is where Manatee County is. We are an excellent rating, AAA, on both our enterprise and our governmental bonds. What does that primarily does is that it reassures the stakeholders when we go out for bonding, is that they will know Manatee County is solid, and I can invest and have assurance that I can invest in your county, in your projects. I had mentioned before that for Moody's and Fitch, which are the 2 rating agencies that rate us on a yearly basis, and every time we go out there for financing, so that factors that could lead to a downgrade are sustained increase in long-term liability and sustained decline in general fund reserves due to budgetary imbalances. So these are the things that the board is making sure that our debt financing plan keeps away from, and keeping that balance with our own resources and what we move forward with that. Also, it's important to understand how diversified is the funding mechanisms that we use to pay all this debt. On both, currently we have 19 different funding sources for paying debt, which means that the general fund is not the only one left with the bag to pay for these debt service payments, which is a fantastic thing for us to have. We placed out there our new general obligation bonds, which, because they are their own funding source, they are limited and exclusive put outside of our debt capacity calculation. That helps us immensely as we move forward with all the needs that we are going to be seeing in the capital improvement plan. Now, this is very important to understand about our debt structure and profile. And this is a very exciting slide for me because I can see by showing you this profile how our debt is programmed and leveled all throughout the years on each one of our debt issuances. Certainly, we have tax-exempt debt, and certainly we have leveraged all of our older to our newest bonds. We have leveraged it so we can. Some will come to maturity as others are coming. That's what makes the whole leveraging and balancing into the years so that there is not one year that we are troubled with having to budget higher debt service payments. And this is something that Manatee County has done for many, many, many years. And now that the board is coming out to utilize more financing to help us breach that time, and bring those projects closer to fruition. This is important to understand. We have a sequence of maturities that are leveling our capacity as we are paying down the older ones. And this is a very important tool that we use into the planning for the future capacity and sufficiency in our debt funding plan. And I'm so good. I have already explained our next slide in our debt funding plan. So when we break our governmental and our utilities, like I said, there's the same but different type of analytics that have to happen. Same thing, we're identifying the financial needs of our capital infrastructure. Same thing, we are analyzing our debt service payments and our outstanding debt. The one thing that is different is the method of payment, right? So our debt capacity and our debt sufficiency for enterprise is evaluated differently than it is evaluated on the governmental side. Enterprise always makes sure that they have their appropriate rates to accommodate growth, increase, and investment in their infrastructure as well as in their operations, because maintenance is a very important part as well that we have to, but you can't pay operations with debt, so that's not a conversation that we have. But rates does have to pay for maintenance too. Leveling our resources is massively important. I talked about timing of projects. I talked about economic conditions. These are like when we talk about all the aspects of rating agencies that they look at. This is one of the things. They always start looking at economic conditions and how is our county fit inside the world of the municipal bonds. This is where we live. So this slide actually talks about our debt funding plan. This is our new debt funding plan. What I show on the top, it's what you will see when we release the capital improvement plan. That's the original sheet. However, we have in that category for debt proceeds, we still have to itemize the bond proceeds that are remaining from our previous bond issuances. That is considered in our reserves. It's our pay-go. So the second one, the bottom one, will actually show what is it that we need for new debt on the upcoming. So the plan is ongoing with the financial advisor. And of course, we are utilizing our partners, our underwriters that are in our current pool to help us monitor more eyes into what the market is doing, to give us a little bit of leverage into when is the right moment, when is the right time to make this happen. Because we just got to test the market and see where the interest rates are. I know what the Feds are saying. I know what the labor market is doing. I know we're in a year of economy where there is elections. So where are we at today? So I'll be talking about that in a second. I'm just getting ahead of myself.
Hey, Sheila, can you just elaborate a little bit on the debt capacity? Is that calculated off the our rating? We want the AAA, so it can't increase more than 10%. How do we calculate that capacity?
So debt capacity has a couple of features.
Good.
One, you have to set a debt limit. Okay, we have our own debt policy, and in the state of Florida, we have to establish our own debt policies. There is no limit restriction given by any statutory requirement for us to bond or issue debt. So, but every municipality has to establish their own policies. We are within our policies. Every year, we meet our debt policy. And we will continue to meet our debt policies. That's one of the things that we evaluate during our budget is when we talk about debt capacities, how much can our budget afford? How much can it afford today? How much can it afford tomorrow? And since our bonds mostly are 30 years out, it has to work all the way out into the 30 years. And the slide prior shows that we are looking at that extension of time all as part of the plan. Okay, so capacity is what we can afford in the budget. Solvency is the one that will initiate that the ratings will look at, to see where is our financial profile, where is our financial performance, are we strong, are we weak, is the economic market helping us, are the interest rates are where we need to be. Are there any conditions inside the county that will affect the overall performance of it? And believe it or not, leadership and management is one of the factors that they look upon when they are rating us, is how strong our leadership, and just a few. Yes, just a few. So looking at the economic update, okay, one of the key factors, and this is what I just said, look at me, I am so good, I'm anticipating myself. It's important to look at risk. It's important to look at the volatile market that we are today, okay? And it's better to make sure that we look at the professionals that make all those predictions. Everybody has a different prediction. You go out there and you look at the Wall Street Journal, they have their own prediction. You look at the Harvard Business Review, they have their own business opinion. Our own financial advisor has their opinion. I just came from a conference of finance officers. They all have different opinions. So what does that tell you? It tells you that nobody knows. The market right now is very erratic. Right? We first said in March, the rates are going to go down. Oh, wait a minute. March didn't happen. Well, let's look at May. May never didn't happen either. So let's look at June. Well, June doesn't look so good either. So let's move it to September. And this slide is it's actually like a good representation of what one of our underwriters has done, J.P. Morgan Chase. They are back in March, they did their economic outlook and overview based on what the Fed said they were going to do in March. And I said, we estimate our forecast is that 30 years muni bonds are going to be at 3.55%. So what happened? On the money market, which is the one that you see on the blue, their predictions were 3.55%. The predictions ended at 3.95%. It may not be as significant, but in millions and millions and millions of dollars, it is a significant feature. And that's where we were. We bonded, our last bond issuance was close to the 3.95%. So again, we don't know what the market is doing. I mean, all we know is that our ratings are super excellent. We have a financial and strong position, and that's all that we know. Yes, sir.
Madam CFO, the forecast that we got from J.P. Morgan, who does a lot of our bonds and issues and stuff like that, this is their forecast from last year, or is this their current forecast? Because
This is current 2024.
I'm not probably not the guys on my team, but and I'm sure Commissioner Cruz can speak to this. That's a pretty robust Fed funds cut from current to March or the first quarter of 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you right now, I don't see that happening. That's a 100 basis point Fed funds cut. And we see inflation heading the other way. So we're not basing our forecasts off of this. They're shooting in the dark.
Everybody's shooting in the dark. I mean, I have my best. I'm not saying that I don't believe what they were saying. It's just that everybody has their own opinion.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, I mean, but so if we're basing kind of our forecast of where we think it's going off of these pretty robust numbers that they're putting out there, that gives me some concern about what we're looking at. Or are we taking everyone are we taking all of our
I'm
financial
looking
advisors?
at all of our six underwriters. The ones the largest ones have been Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and then J.P. Morgan. But our financial advisor, and this is what I'm going to talk on this next slide with our economic market conditions. This is what they are
because if
opining.
you look at what our
And their projections and all that, I mean, you have to set some reliance on your own financial advisor. And that's really what sets our debt plan.
Because if you look at the Deep Blue, who manages the $2.5 billion for us, they're completely the other opposite direction of what this is showing us.
Yes,
So-
everybody is just like, from the grimace to the most positive to the ones that keep a balance for. But when we look at what our own financial advisor is looking at, can you move to the next one? Right. This is what they are saying, and say, like municipal bonds are yielding lower rates than Treasury rates at 3.02 to 0.34 as of June 3rd. And when I say that, I am kind of like, we have been tempting the market. We have been looking at the market every month. And this is what I see as a CFO. This is my take. I have my own take. This is what I see. I see the average of those interest rates staying at between the 4.1. And to give you an example, we just closed in on a bank loan at 4.155%. So that's really the reassurance that I need to see. Is this time in our evaluation, and Wendell, who is our financial advisor, keeps saying just gonna kind of wait for the summer might be the right time. And that's why for utilities, because it's a large sum, what their needs are is we are kind of like to watch the market and see which month is the right month so we can start the kind of like safeguarding a good interest rate with the good rating that we have. And of course, I was waiting until the fiscal year 25 CIP, 25-29 CIP would look more kind of like solid. As you said, Commissioner Ron, we have seen an inverted curve that it perhaps is not helping us with the muni markets, but it's helping us wonders on our investment pool, right? And when you move into the next one, when we talk about our investments, this is an attestation of our solid financial position. We have investments of our own money for a total of $2.2 billion, and we're earning rates, we're earning yields of, in average, at 5.42%.
Yeah, Deep Blue is doing a great job of managing our money for us.
They are doing a great job, yes.
They're very conservative, fixed assets, stuff like that. So, I mean, you can look at the weighted averages, and we're doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm. And they're helping to diversify our investments into different pools that are more less risky, more conservative, but yet are giving us the yields that are helping our cash flow grow, And to give you an idea, and I talked about this in the financial plan, in the financial position work session back in April, in fiscal year 23, we earned interest amounting to $69 million for the entire year. And we are heading in the right direction, if not more, because our investments are so healthy.
It's unfortunate we can't leverage our investments to help with some of our CIP, but
Very unfortunate. But
we can't do that.
Yeah. So finally, we are going to talk about reserves. This is where this is the bottom line. This is where we are. And when I show you this, you need to keep in mind, and I said it before, but I'll say it again, the hit that the sheriff is going to take on the general fund with their ask, it's going to be large. Because they have there's a lot of investment on infrastructure for the sheriff. All that is coming to operations in the upcoming years, and he needs more staffing. He needs more operation cost. He needs more vehicles. He's going to need, what I tell to the county administrator every time there's a lot of budget amendments, brace for impact.
I love that saying.
So let's talk about reserves. Our FY25 recommended budget has a total of $841.3 million in our reserves. And a lot of that, and keep in mind that there's 4 different types of reserves that we have. There's reserves contingency. We are allowed to reserve at least 10% of our total budget in items that we call them set-asides, that contingency, and these are items that they know a program is needing a funding, but they still need to come to the board with some evaluation or more concise explanation of what the program is about, right? So, example, we have the cybersecurity, we have pledged. We know that cybersecurity is vital for the health of our system. So we have pledged a set-aside reserve on $500,000. That's in the general fund for continuation of the program, besides what they already have in their own budget. This helps us to assure that in case there is an additional need, because of a threat or something like that, the money is there to make it happen, to make the resolution be had. Not saying that we're going to get a threat, but we always got to be forecasting and preparing for the. There's $57.3 million of that, and remember the video. There's $11.1 million still in the generational impacts that are sitting in that set-aside reserves, awaiting for those plans of those projects that are already itemized to be complete and be moved to the corresponding project that is being outlined for. Okay, the reserve for salaries at $18.9 million. The $12.8 million investment in our workforce resides inside there. And also the difference is awaiting we have an evergreen study that is upcoming into the next year that we know will have some impact into our job descriptions and positions that are in the county that we need to address. So it's waited there until we have a definite plan to come to the board, and the administrator says the need is going to be X amount of dollars. And of course, there is an additional dollars also for changes, what we call in attrition. An example, there's 21 new positions being projected out there, but we budget at a certain amount. But our policy says that we can do mid-range. Until we actually bring those positions into hiring process, we don't know what the final number is. So we have to reserve for that anticipation. Also, attrition is anywhere where we have every year retirements on folks that decided, I've had it, I've been dropped, I'm going to live my better life. The money is there to keep. Departments don't budget for retirement because they don't know what the impact is going to be. So all those things we call attrition, and it's covered in these reserves. All right. And then reserve for capital. Reserve for capital is all these projects that are in the capital improvement in the FY25 as an investment. We try to, we work hand in hand with the clerk's office because they're the ones that create all of the project accounts. So now that we have identified, for example, 53 new projects that need financing, that we're waiting for the clerk's office to build those accounts for us to move the money in there ready for adoption. It's a seamless process once we do the interface into our ERP system, and it's voila, but we need those accounts. So waiting for that, those monies are sitting in there. And that leaves us with the reserve for cash balance. The one that we talk about so much is broken down into two pieces. One is the actual cash balance, and this one is for best practice. The county always tries to meet the 20% mark. It's in our financial policy. It's worth around 60 days of operational need within each one of the funding sources. And then the other piece, anything beyond that 20% is called stabilization. Stabilization helps to address needs beyond that that need to be addressed. Example, if we ever faced with a bad storm, such as what Ian brought forward or what Irma brought forward, we would utilize our stabilization funds to make us whole and be able to afford the impact of those. So there are six funding sources that are under the reserve set asides. We will be talking individually in the upcoming work sessions about what those set asides are for your understanding and discussion, if you will. All right. Like I said, we have to meet our 10% best practice capacity on this reserve for set asides. So our $2.4 billion budget. Our 10% of appropriations is $238 million. We have met our capacity allowed at 2.4%. You always want it to be less than 10. Okay. Now let's look at reserve for cash balance. I have to also leave you with the sheriff is not in this calculation. Okay, they do not present their budget until August 1st. So when you look at the general fund with $151 million of reserves, in stabilization there's $51 million of stabilization dollars. We know that the large impact in the general fund of the sheriff's budget is in the general fund. Whether it's last year, it was $25 million. This year, it probably will double. So I'm being very conservative with my comment is that it's going to hurt when they do present their budget on August 1st. The total of the reserves for cash balance is $765.10 million, but we know that there's a lot of other funding sources we cannot touch. We can't move around. There's a designated use for those monies, already itemized depending on the revenue stream where it's coming from. Example, impact fees can only be utilized for the zone where they live in, where they are collected, it cannot be pushed out of used into any other zone or district, however you want to call it. Same thing with tourist development tax. It's only a tourism, it's only to address tourism needs into the county or enhance the impact that tourism is bringing into the county. We have met our 20% calculation on our 20% cash balance at 9.6%. So we're not even close to that 20%. In the overall, if you look at even each one of the funding sources, we are meeting that 20% because it's required for us in a case of an emergency. We have that reserve established in there to run operations. And finally, I cannot go out without talking about truth in millage. Truth in millage is everything that guides under Florida Statute 200, everything that we do to make the ad valorem secure for the county, and to be able to collect those. So to outline where we need to be, starting July 1st, TRIM, this is their go, no go date, because it's when the property appraiser is set to establish the assessed values. From then on, the county has 100 days to be able to finalize their process all the way to completion. After we adopt the budget in September, we already have our two designated public hearings. September 12th is the first public hearing. September 17th is the second public hearing. After that will be the 79-day mark. After that, we have property appraiser and our main and FMD have to work diligently to get all these worked out, entered into their system, provide all the reporting that the Department of Revenue is requiring, and we close the shop. Let's say that's at that point is when I call myself fully adopted. What's going to happen next? Let's look at the timetable. We are very close. First step is today. We just kicked off the FY25 recommended budget. This afternoon, you will have 8 departments coming in to start discussing their own budgets. It's important that you as commissioners understand the services that each one provides, the programs that they service, the levels of service that they're trying to increase, the positions they're trying to bring forward, the ones that they will be defending. And this year, for the first time, we will be talking about base and continuation and changes to it. On the 18th, we will be talking about the capital improvement plan and the funding sources that are drivers for it, for helping the financing of this robust capital improvement plan. On the 19th, the utility department in the morning will be coming to explain their budget and their capital improvement plan, and we're going to talk about their debt financing plan. And in the afternoon, we will be talking about our funding sources. Each one as a whole, we won't be talking about 105 of them, but the significant ones that drive most of the programs in this county. In July 1st, we have our work session back from recess. We will do our work session for the approval of the tentative millage. At that point, also the sheriff, the supervisor of elections, and the property appraiser will present their budget increase. The property appraiser, they usually wait until the state delivers their budget to them, so they can actually know what their outfalls are, so that they can ask the county for their own increases. All right. So although I already have their budget, it was too late. It was June 1st when I received it. So I will bring it forward, and they understand that. On August 1st, it's very important that when we talk about setting tentative millage, is the board will have to set the millage they intend to adopt. At that point, from that point forward, you cannot go higher, but you can go lower. Okay? And we set a maximum millage, maximum proposed millage. after the August 1st, by August the 4th, and this is seamless to you, but it is to the property appraiser will send out the trim notices with knowing the millage, the intended millage that the board is approving. They will send out the trim notices, and this serves as our first public hearing, moving us into the September 12th. We already know that the school board's public hearings are set on the September 9th, September 7th. So we follow suit right after, and this is a regulatory by Florida statute. Coming September 12th, we bring in the tentative public hearing, our tentative FY25 budget. And then on September 17, we say, yay, we adopt the millage and we adopt the budget, and the budget is adopted for fiscal year 25. At this point, I have presented the FY25 recommended budget as a balanced budget. This afternoon, we'll be starting with the departments. There'll be, like I said, there'll be 8 departments presenting their budgets, starting with county administration all the way down to information technology. It goes in the order of the lowest budget to the largest budget. Okay, so it'll give you an idea. Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam CFO. Are there any questions of CFO right now? Not right now, seems to be. All right, what I'd like to do is take about a 10-minute break and give everybody a chance to get up and stretch their legs. Huh?
Sir, I am done.
She is done. I mean, it said she was done. We're not coming back to that.
Yes, we're coming in the afternoon at 1 to do the department's budgets.
Whose idea was that? Okay. It wasn't my idea, sir. We'd be pressing through, believe me. Is it? I mean, is it a time certain, or can we just go and press through? I mean, take a 10-minute break and keep going. I mean, we're ready.
Okay.
County Administrator, where are you at?
I'm right here.
Yeah,
Where are you at on this?
But can we take a 10-minute recess so that we can swap our
Yeah, what we'll do is we're going to take a 15-minute break and give the people that are here the opportunity to go when we're ready to go. So, all right, we're going to recess for 15 minutes. Be back here at 10:45. Thank you.
Andy, we need Lacey here.
Yeah. Recess. We're going to continue on with the budget presentation of the FY25 recommended budget. Madam CFO, you're back.
I am back. All right, well, welcome to the second half of our budget presentation for today. Hopefully we will end this earlier than expected. So this presentation is just to start this first part of our discussion of the budget of the department's budgets and programs within it. Okay, today we are featuring 8 departments that are going to be presenting, and starting with we're starting with county administration, sports and leisure, and financial management for the first 3. So I want to talk before I bring in all the directors and Mr. Bishop to present his budget. I want to talk about the elements of the budget. I did mention that briefly in my original presentation. The total budget for the department's programs and other programs is $672 million. When I break out the other programs, it's because there are some programs that live outside of the department in itself, but are still administered by a particular department, such as the health services, the adults, nonprofits, children. So they will be also talking about those. How we prepare the budget, and I have to actually explain it a little bit because Manatee County is one of the few that works it this way. We work our budget based on levels of services, meaning our base, our continuation, and anything beyond that raises that is intended to raise a level of service will be called desired, right? Currently, we have in our budget structure 14 departments and 69 programs, broken down by decision unit in the lowest tier. Each one of the decision units is broken down by base, continuation, and desired, like I said. Base is the minimum resources required to operate within a program. Continuation is any additional beyond the base level of service that it's given by Annex 16 service. And like I explained, desired is anything that raises within this year any of the programs, levels of service. With that said, we are going to start with the budgets. We will be talking about some of the other county-funded programs, those that are administered by the departments. The judicials and the constitutionals are coming on the 17th. All right. To give you, like I said, an overview of the decision unit summary, and we call it decision unit summaries because now we're going to be utilizing the terms so much that you will be tired of it. Each department will talk about decision units. The look and feel of this budget this year is going to be a little bit different. That's why I brought some examples so that I can walk you through it a little bit. We underwent a implementation of a new budget software. It's called Oracle EPM, and bringing ourselves to the 21st century of budgetary success. We're still working through the kinks, but it's fully implemented. It's working satisfactorily, and but you are going to see the reports a little bit different than what you saw last year. The essence of it is there, but the visualization is a little different. So when we talk about decision unit summary, each department will be utilizing a like report. So you'll see it coming in each one. The only thing that changes is the program. The first sheet that you will see is the decision unit summary. This one will be presented. For each one of the programs inside the department, we'll have a sheet that summarizes their budget, right? It'll start with the base and continuation, total dollar value, and then it'll move forward with the desires. The desires are the ones that are itemized for your easy location and well explanation of what the item is. Dollar amount, if it's a position that's being brought forward, it'll tell you that it includes a position. If it's a funded or an unfunded item, you will see it in different columns. Okay, at that point, the director will try to address there and ask the board defend their item if it's unfunded, but the board also can choose to unfund as well. Okay, it goes in every direction. Okay, so if you have any questions of a funding item, you can also make that question. All right. And I'm going to talk a little bit about base and continuation changes because base and continuation is something that gets impacted in multiple ways. Okay. One, that's why I broke it in base and continuation A and base and continuation B. Base and continuation A is changes that have happened through approval of the previous budget fiscal year that have a continuing impact into this year, or anything that was approved through the cycle of the current fiscal year through amendments. So what can change through amendments? What can be significant change through an amendment or through adoption? One, and this is the most impactful, is the salary changes approved in compensation in fiscal year 24. This is when you are truly going to see the impact of what those salary increases, COLA or whatever, or pay for performance did to the salaries. So because those have already been approved, we will itemize them, but we will not explain them because they're already approved items. That's why they're segregated into A. Now, the department, let's talk about B. B represents new changes into operational expense. We call it operational expense change, but it's anything that changes the operations. These ones could be due to CPI adjustments. As we know, everything is going up and not down. Staffing level adjustments in operations, and Lord knows we have seen our share of reorganizations and changes in divisions between departments that made sense for those divisions to move to a more organized environment that flows in the same manner. And then, of course, we've already have contracts that have that are coming for renewals and things like that, that they're already approved contracts. We all know that when contracts come due, the amounts get reevaluated, and that we can just not say no to. So those contracts get, even though they still go through procurement for the adjustments and so forth, they are approved contracts. So they get added in here as a adjustment to continuation, not a desired, because they can't live without that adjustment. So they have to, the department will defend that piece B of the base and continuation to explain what has transpired. And then, of course, we have the desireds that they will talk about. All right. The other thing that I want to talk about is the pooling process. So as a department comes and they defend one of their items and any of the board members wishes to pool an item, meaning I want to bring this item because I feel like it should be funded and it's unfunded, or if I feel that it's funded and it should not be funded and I want it to be unfunded, that also gets brought into put into a list. It has to be a commissioner asking for the pool and a other commissioner that seconds that motion in order to make the pool work. At that point, we will make all those a list, and we will, during the recess, we will work it through, and then we will come back in the proposed version and bring the solution into the budgeting. We're keeping in mind that as a balanced budget, something that gets added will have to remove something else, or we'll have to decrease your reserves. Okay, so with that said, let's get into the department's budgets. And the first one being county administration. And with us, you have Mr. County Administrator Charlie Bishop. They have 4 programs, and their total budget is $6.7 million. Their programs are, of course, the county administration with the Board of County Commissioners, information outreach, records management, copy center, and the courier. Those are in the same program. And then the 311 operations. You want me to?
You go ahead and start with that. Explain that slide.
So with the base and continuation changes for county administration, they actually don't have, as you can see, their impact in their budget is in budget A is $953,000. That one was morely due to all the reorganizations, divisions, and so forth. The alignment of it required an additional increase as an amendment into their fiscal year 24 budget. Right now, on their operating expense based on continuation B, they have a nominal increase of $38,000 into their budget, mainly because of the operating aspect of it. This has been just changes to inflation, increases in some of their current programs that contracts that they have. They do support a lot of the initiatives for outside agencies, such as the Tampa Bay Regional and all the other things. So it goes into that budget right there. And also because they have made changes to their staffing levels, there's operational cost that comes added to that. If we can move now into their programs, Claudia, there. With that, I leave you with our County Administrator, Charlie Bishop.
Yeah, thank you, Madam CFO. Chair, as Sheila alluded to, there was 133 asked during this process. As a former director, I had not only Evan and Courtney as former directors. Directors know best what their needs and wants are, but it was hard to fulfill 133 requests. We did fill 21 of them, but again, it's at your pleasure. You can always pull those. It's a fluid process. We started this process, as Sheila also alluded to, almost 9 months ago. So there have been some changes through this document as we progress, i.e. I have tools at my disposal to reclassify through attrition and or just the ability to move the chess pieces around, and we've done that. You can see on this first one, I didn't ask for any unfunded positions, but I would like to bring Lacey Pritchard up, our information outreach manager, to start going through her unfunded requests. Before Lacey speaks, I want to again applaud her and her team. They're a very, very slim division. They do a lot of work. Just yesterday, we did another video at Lecom Park for employee recognition with the Marauders. You saw the Pets for Patriots video. You saw the AI video for traffic control. You see the budget video. We have our news flash. We have our social media platforms. Compared to Sarasota, we're 1/3 their size, but I feel we're putting 2/3 the content out. So with that, I'm pleased to have Lacey Pritchard go through her budget.
County Administrator, I think what we'd like to do is if they could come up front and present so we're all not turning around and
Very good.
look back there.
That's my bad. I told her to go there.
If Lacey would come up front, we'd probably appreciate that.
All right, directors, as you just heard, just come to the front. All right.
Don't be shy. Come up front.
So as a reminder, Lacey not only has information outreach, she has 311 and the records division underneath her, which does include public records.
All right. Make sure y'all can hear me okay. So I did request some positions, but with creativity and support from our county administrator, I was able to get some of those positions filled. The one I'm really want to ask today for support is a public records assistant. Currently, I have one public records assistant that is processing a majority of our public records requests. And just to kind of give you guys an idea, we have, with great growth of the beautiful county that we live in, it's also the increase of public records requests. And as many as you might be aware, the saying, there's the same 10 people. So,
I'm sorry. Our Adobe is acting up, so
yeah.
It's cybersecurity.
Second.
It's the server. It kicked us out.
Yeah. So moving
Go
forward,
ahead.
Chair, the idea is to have the unfunded and the job description behind the speaker as they speak to give the rationale why they were either funded or unfunded. So we're trying to pull up the decision unit detail report, which is actually starts for us on page 75, and then it goes to moves forward.
Yeah, we're looking at, hey, Charlie, we're looking at the printouts.
Yeah.
There's no page 75.
Yeah, I know, it's in the decision
I
unit
was
book,
getting
which
nervous.
is very, very thick. We try to save paper.
I know it's online, yeah.
Yep, I've got a flash drive of it.
Lacey, you want to continue until, let's keep moving forward until they figure out the technical difficulties.
Sorry. Oh, that's okay.
And here he is.
So currently, we're processing close to 700 to 725 public records requests a month. You may say, well, that's not a huge number, which it is a significant number because not all these public records requests are open and closed. They take excessive. If you can think of a public records assistant as a case manager, they're reaching out to all of the different departments to ask for these requests. There's sometimes extensive research where the requester has to pay a special service charge for those fees, but it does take a lot of time and coordination to successfully and promptly respond to public records.
Hey, Lacey, is this you or, I don't know.
Okay.
Does that look like you?
This is my information outreach team.
Okay.
So with this, we have been able to get a digital content specialist position. I, of course, as Charlie alluded to, I did originally 9 months ago ask for a communication coordinator and a graphic designer. I currently have a graphic designer on a part-time temp status that is picking up quite a bit of our workload. So I do plan on continuing with that if this position does not get funded. The communication coordinator position was a concept of the centralization of information outreach. And we have a little bit of a breakdown where we have an embedded communication coordinator in public works, public safety, community and veteran services supporting MCAW, and also out at utilities. But we still have that little bit of a breakdown with the departments that are underserved. So we were looking at the communication coordinator would be able to support those additional departments that don't have that embedded communication coordinator there. And then the digital content specialist, which I will ask to be pulled because I do have that position, one at Public Works and then one here in county administration. So those are my.
Hey, Lacey, can we get back to your request for the assistant in public records?
Yes, sir.
Because that's unfunded, correct?
That's unfunded.
Okay, so can we get back and talk about that and explain a little bit more why that's a needed position? I know you talked about the 700 requests plus a month, but can you go through that a little bit more for us real quickly?
Yes, do we have that up there?
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the records assistant position. I have one public records assistant that is producing a majority of the public records request. So just so you know, I assist this person also. So I actually carry a workload of my own on these requests. So this one is, I've asked for another one of these positions that will help with this caseload. Just to kind of give you all a number, last year we processed 6,716 public records requests. That was the last fiscal year from October of 22 to September of 23. This year, to date, we are already at 5,227 public records requests. And when I respond, saying that these take time, we also do coordination with the county attorney's office. We have a lot of public records requests that come in from attorneys, and they pay the fee, but they're needing all this additional documentation that supports their litigation that may be between somebody other than suing, at the liability against the county. So these are all public records requests that we're getting, and when my public records requests assistant goes on vacation, it's just we need support. So that's kind of that's where this position would bring in for consistency and also taking into account with our new technology coming. So that is and I want to say about there's that saying, we use it in information outreach, we use it in records, and we use it in 311. We have the same 10 people that are continuously requesting public records. And we have to we're serving everybody timely and promptly, but I will say that those certain requests do take very time from our workload to address. So that's what we're just trying to make sure we have consistency and that we can always respond to public records promptly and efficiently.
Is there a certain time frame that you have to respond to a public record?
So the statute tells us that we have to do it within a timely manner.
Okay.
So to our ability, we are doing it in a timely manner. We do process public records as they come in. And so sometimes people don't get a response after one day, and those do take time. So we do process them as they come in. So, but yeah, it's a timely manner, subject to interpretation as the county attorney might.
So what you're looking for is when you present your full budget, that you're looking for support for this additional position?
I would graciously ask for support in that position.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, that concludes county administration. Again, the ask was 4 positions, but one of them's been filled already. So there's 3, 2 in our information outreach, 1 of our records. So, and you'll hear that theme continue as we go through the other 13 departments.
Yes, sir.
Just,
Commissioner Ballard.
just to be clear, do we have, so are 2 of those recommended for funding and 1 is not? Is that right? Or do we not?
None of the requests were funded.
No.
Okay.
And again, commissioners, typically the second year of a 2-year budget, the FTE fulfillment is very small. The heavy lift is in our first year of our 2-year budget. And so, again, we've been leery to fill majority of these positions, but the growth is there, the need's there. But we'd rather the commission approve the requests.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions of County Administrator or Lacey? See none. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Good job, Lacey.
All right. Now we have Sports and Leisure, our director and of the Sports and Leisure Services, Molly White. They have a total budget of $6,756,000. And without further ado, Molly White.
Well, let me introduce her. So Molly White has been with me now for almost a year. You understand, I'm sure, Premier's growing, Buffalo Creek's growing. We've got a CIP request for, I think it's a park out east for more ball fields. GT Bray's expanding. John Marble's going to be opening up in November. So her park inventory is continuing to grow while her FTEs continue to stay stagnant.
Appreciate that. Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Chair, County Attorney, County Administrator. Thank you for the intro. Molly White, Sports and Leisure Services Director. A couple items up in front of you today for the decision units. First, you're going to see the John H. Marble operating. This is to open the doors of John H. Marble when it opens. It's showing as not funded, but it is funded through reserves. It's 8 total positions, 6 full-time and 2 part-time. This will be your front desk workers, those that run the camps out there, the athletic leagues, and offer the fitness classes and support to the facility. The second priority up there is your renewal and replacement operating. With the division and kind of reorganization of the departments, the R&Rs or the renewal and replacement was also kind of divided. We're settling into a better process this year where they're dividing it between departments. So for this one, and there's some ideas up there of a list items that we will use this funding for. 3 playgrounds. The GT Bray skate park shade structure is actually being fulfilled with some remaining funds we had from all the shade structures that already went in there. So we'll utilize that funding somewhere else, as well as Buffalo Creek basketball court upgrades. So this is just to continue the R&R for fiscal year 25. To give you an idea, our last R&R budget was $965,000. $200,000 of that for sod, so that $200,000 will be moved over to property management to continue that R&R. The next item up there is one position for a rec coordinator. And this is essentially for the Walton Racket Center for the 20 pickleball courts and 8 clay tennis courts. Currently, there's no permanent employee dedicated solely to maintenance for that. Right now, it's the same workers who take the cash at the front desk, who do the inventory and the customer check-in, and they try and run the programming. As we all know, we need to be offering more programming to our members on the pickleball courts and the clay courts. So adding this position will alleviate all the maintenance onto a sole maintenance person for those courts. This priority number 4, I'm excited about. It's a half-ton truck and trailer. This will have multiple uses for it. As you know, our events have exponentially grown in frequency, and so is the need for our supplies. So the trailer will be used to store that equipment. It'll also be wrapped, so it'll be a moving marquee for sports and leisure services and county programming. And then it'll also be used for mobile recreation programs in the summer. So currently we have park attendants who are in the fields while our athletic fields are in full play. And in the summer, they're helping with the maintenance, but we'd also be able to utilize them by using this truck and trailer to go to different parks that don't have programming already there and do pop-up programming in either underserved neighborhoods or just kind of in random spots throughout the county to bring fun through recreation. And then I come to my one unfunded desired decision units, which I'd like to defend in hopes that you will consider funding this for next year. Currently, our department is very lean and efficient. And since 2019, we've increased the number of facilities that we program and manage by almost 25%. And that incremental growth has been absorbed. However, with the planned facilities, and specifically out east, we believe it's time to add another recreation division manager to give those facilities the attention they need to keep the service level for our community where it needs to be as we grow and add teams through affiliated leagues and for our new residents. We currently already have plans for additional fields at Buffalo Creek, Country Club East, and synthetic fields out at Premier. We'll be adding lighting to all the athletic fields throughout the county, which will increase playtime, scheduling, and invoicing. Then we have complete new parks on the horizon from Hidden Harbor, Parish Community Park Phase 1, and Phase 2 coming quickly behind it. We have new spaces for potential special events from to add to our inventory, from the permanent tent going to Premier and the third level of the library. I mentioned all those as they're large county assets that are coming online before we know it. We've also have John H. Marble with the double gymnasium, giving us the ability to have tournaments for volleyball, basketball, and larger camps. We have Premier North, which is the Racket and Aquatic Center that will be groundbreaking for soon. And there's also been a desire for sports and leisure services to start managing the Premier South this fiscal year, which consists of 20 fields, 26 tournaments, and nearly a $50 million economic impact. So it's important for us to add the support and foresight and oversight for creative scheduling and increased customer service to our residents in your Sports and Leisure Services Department. That's all I have.
Molly, I want to commend you for putting that email out and just verifying again the $50 million worth of potential income that's going to be brought in through sports and leisure, not the TDC. So thank you for all that stuff you and your team are doing.
Thank you for that.
Commissioner Van Alstenburg has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is regarding Premier. At what point did we decide sports and leisure was going to start managing Premier over EDC, and when is that transition supposed to take place? And if that's the case, then what are we doing with Elliott's employees who are currently managing it? Why are they not just being absorbed by sports and leisure?
I believe the desire is coming for consistency as the local soccer clubs in that area are growing and merging with higher level playing. There's a need for them to expand and utilize both Lakewood Ranch Park as well as Premier. And then on the other side, and Ellie might want to come up and speak as well, I see. But his expansion as well with the Convention Center is also growing their inventory. So that's, I believe, where the...
And that's fine. I don't necessarily, you all decide best on who's going to run it. But my question is, if we already have staff out there that are running this facility, why do we need more staff to run this facility that's already running?
Thank you for bringing up the question. you beat me to it because I was going to follow up with her. It's optimization. You have 3 different departments out there. Let's put it all under one roof and let us focus on continuing to bring the out-of-town business to not only the current campus, but the future campus as well. I have 2 employees out there that would be transferred to Molly. They're called event supervisors. Remember, commissioners, this is the unique park that is a pay-for-play. So it's not like GT Bray where it's open all the time. When the gates are open at Premier Sports Campus, you have staff there. So very unique compared to other parts of the county. Molly and I communicate all the time. Let us work outside the county, drive the business in, and let her oversee the day-to-day. And at the end of the day, it'll be optimized as you add that North Campus to that beautiful future park.
She's asking for 10 positions, and you're running it with 2.
No, I'm asking for one position, one rec division manager to oversee John H. Marble, Premier North, and Premier South.
Correct.
As a recreation division manager.
John H. Marble operating recreation, 8 positions.
To be clear on that, I think she said that is actually in reality funded. Is that correct?
The 8 positions for Marble to open the doors is funded. So that's like your facility operations manager, your rec coordinators.
Okay.
Yep. And then the one unfunded is the division manager, essentially like an out east division manager. So we have one division manager currently in the department that oversees.
Okay, so you're looking to add a division manager for out east. That's fine.
Correct.
You want a rec coordinator at Bray, which I don't think is necessary, but whatever. And then you also want how many for Premier? Are you asking for 1?
0.
0, even better. Okay, so my only issue then is the rec coordinator at Bray. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Carmine's crew's out there maintaining the fields and all that too. So it's more than just our 2.
Yeah, I would argue the rec coordinator at GT Bray is well needed. The pickleball court reservations, the tennis lessons, the pickleball lessons is being performed by one individual who also maintains the courts.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And obviously we're trying to meet the need of using those rec coordinators to add the programming that our members, that are paying members desire.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you for the great work you do too. Thank you.
I want to make a point of clarification that set aside that she spoke about. John Marble is still not under operations, so until she actually defines the exact number and cost and she brings it to the board, there's a $1.5 million set aside to cover the 8 positions plus the operational expense that she was asking for. Their base and continuation Part B, which is the increase they asked for. It's on personnel, and it was $128,000 increase, and that's attributed mainly to temporary services, overtime cost. Sorry. And with that, we move on to financial management. So we may not be shabby. You may not see physical aspects of us out there. But what gives value to us is because we are the silent partners to help complete the mission of each one of these departments through the budget, through the procurement, and through our fiscal services and devotion that these folks put out there. Our financial management budget is going to be presented by my new deputy director, which I wanted to showcase today. Victor?
Good morning, commissioners, county administrator, county attorney. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. So I'm summarizing our department in 2 or 3 minutes for the sake of time. So financial management, we have 3 programs with an $11.1 million budget, which 7.9 is base and 3.2 million is continuation. And here in the next slide, these are our three divisions, which is management and budget, purchasing, and fiscal services. I'm going to talk about a little bit about the tasks that the management and budget divisions do. And this is budget amendments. For example, last year we did 455 budget amendments. This year, as of April of 2024, 284 budget amendments. Debt management, we process, budget, monitor CIP. At the same time, we make sure that we comply with the bond covenants and keep a bond rating of AAA for the county. Budget process to adoption. This is 79 programs, constitutional offices, 14 departments, and this is all the way from the lower level employee to make sure they have the tools to complete their job, all the way to the commissioner's approval. IST monitoring, that's the infrastructure sale tax, and we meet with their board twice a year at least. Sometimes we meet more as needed. Monitoring of operating funds and make sure we use the fund accurate and in the appropriate way, following the ordinances, resolutions, and any existing law applicable. CIP, we do the monthly cash reconciliations, but Candy and Candy's group also take care that the projects are moving. If they see a project that is not moving, they reach out to the departments and they make sure the projects, what's going on with the project, if it's ready to close, if it's complete, and they monitor all of that. Then we have in the right side, we have the fiscal services division. That division, we centralized this division in October of 2022. And at that time, we added 80 positions to the group, to FMD, and it has been a bless because we have a direct contact with 78.
Yeah, hold up. We didn't add 78 positions. We consolidated 78 positions.
Correct. Those positions were existing already.
Yeah.
We just centralized it. So thank you, Charlie. I'm going to talk a little bit about what they do. The budget to actuals there, the actual people who go to the lower level employee to make sure they have all the needs. They go to the directors. They meet in the director level position. They bring all their needs to FMD so we can bring it to administration and then finally for the board approval. They make sure budget to actuals. This is very important to make sure we're not overspending or underspending, because that may be a problem too when we're not spending the money while we have the needs, or the citizen has the needs. Capital improvement projects, they work with the business cases, budget amendments, process pay applications, and grants. This is budget amendments. So grant, I missed that part in the budget divisions. This is a section that we're starting now with Michelle. She's doing a tremendous job, and this is something we want to grow and to make sure we don't miss any opportunity to bring money to this county. And then year end, we do a lot of invoices from previous fiscal years and make sure we recorded in proper fiscal year, prepare audit, and some departments work with inventories. This last bullet point is very important because we had done, this county, fiscal staff done more than 114,000 transactions. I mean, if you divide that for the people who do the transaction, that means that a single employee is doing at least 20 transactions a day. So, and this is in addition of the budget cases, business cases, budget amendment, everything else they do. So with that, I pass it to Jacob, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Please.
Sorry, I would like to introduce our procurement official. He does an exemplary job for this county. He's going to present his budget, and he's going to talk about his division.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody, commissioners, Madam County Attorney, County Administration. Again, Jake Erickson, I'm the purchasing official for the county. Again, you guys are pretty familiar with purchasing, but just for the public watching, basically our responsibility is to facilitate the procurement process for all of the requisitions that come into us from the department. So we work hand in hand with, again, administration, with the board, with the directives, as well as with the departments. We currently have 19 positions. We've got 4 operations and then 15 actual buyers that do of the vast majority of, again, the contracting, the solicitations, all of that. The one piece that I just wanted to kind of point out, just as sort of a numbers thing, is so last year in fiscal year 23, we pushed $396 million through procurement, including P cards. This year through the end of May, we're at $384 million. So we're going to drastically eclipse what we did in fiscal year 23. So again, just want to give a shout out to my team. Obviously, everybody out there is working hard to get these solicitations in, continuously focus on efficiency and effectiveness to get things through the procurement process while making sure that everything is in accordance with statutes, ordinances, procedures, policies, all the fun red tape that we have to go through in public government. So thank you guys very much.
I cannot go without introducing also a set of individuals that put their divisions as the forefront of everything they do, starting with Danielle Fraser. She's the division manager for the fiscal services. Candy Cruz, she's the budget division manager specialized in the capital improvement plan. And then we have Claudia Campos. She's the budget division manager on the operational side as well. They are my strength. They are my forte, and that's why I just couldn't go without showcasing them here. And now I'm going to talk about our budget. For the base and continuation FY25 budget, financial management has always been very lean. We don't ask for much. Of course, we're FMD. We're cheap. So, we try to work with what we have. But we're also trying to look always for efficiencies on our work and our reporting and all that for the sake of all the departments. Our budget has grown through our previous requests and things like that on base and continuation, but it's only been to make and enhance and strengthen the services. As services increase, so is the need for a fiscal attached to that. And that would segue into my requests that got unfunded into each one of the divisions for this year. Like I said, I don't ask much, but the personal impact that the capital improvement plan brings into our budget division is kind of vast. The more it goes up, the more stress in my workforce. So, and then also on the budget office, all I'm asking is for a debt manager position. With this capital improvement plan, there's a lot of vast need for debt management, and at this point, I am your debt manager. And there's a lot of projects. There's a lot of things that have to be evaluated. Not only going out, it's only going out for bonds. It's the evaluation of the process. Plus, after that, is monitoring those projects that are being financed by bond issuance, making sure that the debt service payments are done, having that relationship with the clerk's office on that side, the inspector general, evaluating the funding sources that are paying for these projects. Because if we shift a project that was originally set for financing with impact fees, we need to make sure that the inspector general is not going to come back evaluating that we shifted a project and then that should have been financed by the debt service payments should have been paid by a different funding source. So that is work that happens behind the scenes, but nonetheless is vital to the success of our debt plan. Moving along, purchasing has no increases in their budget. They don't have any requests. But on the fiscal services, and I'm going to segue as to something that Molly said, in the support that we're giving to sports and leisure, there is one important, there's a set of important things that have happened in sports and leisure. One, she's taken on the special events that has increased the volume of processing. She has also going to be in fiscal year 25 absorbing the historical resources locations, and that's also going to bring a vast number of processes that need to happen fiscally. Payments, cash receipts. I can talk about P-card payments, purchase, DVs, all that processing that needs to happen. So I'm just asking, she only currently has 2 folks that manage the entire department, and as it grows, 2 is not enough. So I'm asking for that position for sports and leisure. The natural resources position, it's unfunded, but Charlie, through the environmental lands, was able to secure providing his department with an additional fiscal. Thank you, Charlie, because they only had 4 staff members to manage beach renourishment program, mitigation program, environmental protection, ag and ecological and marine resources. What else am I missing? Yada, yada, yada. Environmental lands. So, but that one was funded through finding a position that could help provide him that position. Thank you very much. And that is my budget in a nutshell. One final thing that I wanted to say. Continuing to add value in this organization is financial management goal. 1, we optimize resource allocation for the county. We enhance financial planning and analysis. We improve cash flow management. We mitigate financial risks by controlling cost and reduction, and by ensuring regulatory compliance for the county, and enhancing the confidence that the stakeholders have in Manatee County for the transparency and accuracy that they are always seeking.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Van Ossenbridge has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your fiscal analyst and fiscal specialist were unfunded. What about the debt manager? Was that position funded or unfunded? No. It is unfunded as well. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair and Commissioner, we think we have a solution for those 2 fiscal specialist positions. Evan, myself, and Sheila are working with that. The debt manager has not been resolved yet, but the 2 fiscal specialists, I think we've solved.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So,
All right.
you good? Okay.
Up next.
Up next is Natural Resources. Charlie Hunziker, Director of Natural Resources. He has 8 programs for a total budget of $12.6 million. And here's Charlie.
Thank you, Commissioners. 8 programs, and also a 9th, wetland mitigation for our Public Works Department transportation program that we brought together. Your next slide probably is going to be the base and continuation changes. And there's some dramatic increases there in column B, but I just wanted to highlight what that was for. Some simple things, the small amounts. The Gopher Tortoise program was added, and that required a person out there to actually take care of a custodian of all those tortoises, and that's that one position right there, and the operating budget is slightly slight. The bigger hit on our category B is the assumption of the Agricultural and Natural Resources Division, which was formerly under the County Administrator's Office and moved as a budget move into our Natural Resources Department, where they're homed. Their activities are logically connected with our resources in Manatee County, and that's pretty much the basis for the increase in our category B continuation budget. Second slide. Next slide is probably going to be programming. And let me do a quick synopsis here. Ignore all that. By that I mean we requested 4 new positions this year to carry out programming, but we submitted that request in January of this year. And since that time, with the assistance of the county administrator, and I might add with great assistance from the county administrator in supporting our programs and the senior administrative team, I want to reduce this request to 1 position. Just 1 unfunded position. And that pertains to our Environmental Protection Division. which is a program under Environmental Protection Division. That's page 140 of the book. The environmental programs, of course, in Manatee County cover our air programs, our water quality programs, our investigations, our inspections, and our services to our federal and state permitting. And as we've given some presentations around the community about building our water quality presence and our ability, and what is our water quality program, it's been focused around these individuals who have served well for many years. Paul Panic out there right now, looking at some of our underground storage tanks and small quantity generator activities. Our permitting responsibilities with the state of Florida are in balance. We're constantly fighting, we're constantly protecting Manatee County's interest in telling them our water quality is at this level. It's not the level you're measuring. You only have 3 stations, we have 15 to back up our positions. And when they say that, well, okay, with your data, we're going to take a different tact. This has happened year in and year out. Our growth is catching up with us. And the request is for an additional environmental specialist in the Environmental Protection Division to be able to continue with our water quality programs, our air programs, and all the like. That's it. One position, one request, and let us continue to provide you the natural resource services we've had for many years. We're proud to be partners in many of the photographs you have around this building about the great natural resources and the divisions that work hard to make that happen. So we're here to take any questions, but one position, one request, and I appreciate your support for doing so. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Any questions of Mr. Charlie H.? All right, thank you.
Good job.
County Administrator?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we've allotted an hour and a half for Elliot, so do we want to break for lunch right now? I mean, I don't
I got
know.
a hook over here.
What's the love in that?
Can you pull that off in 20 minutes?
This is the dynamic duo. Charlie left. I've known him for 30 years. That was the fastest presentation I've ever seen him give.
Podium.
Yeah, you go, man.
Let's see if you
He
can
was
beat.
asking for money and he ran.
Yeah. Thank you all. Appreciate the time. Let me preface, I'm not blowing smoke at you. Really appreciate the support that you all give me. I'm sitting here and there's trust because I don't know if you've ever said no to me when we come with an opportunity. So we want to keep that trust. When I've met with you individually, one-on-one, when you became commissioners, you saw that your tourism bureau is the leanest in the state of Florida with the most responsibilities. Love it because now you've created a competitive advantage against our comp set. When you have a successful destination in regards to visitation, let me preface, success opportunities will come at you at a faster pace. We need to discern quickly and not be afraid to say no from time to time, okay? With that, you got me up there, good. I have really just 2 requests. Y'all have got me into public-private partnership opportunities. Of course, we can't talk about some of them. We're in non-disclosure agreement. I love it. Every one of them is tourism-related. We've had opportunities with the water ferry, got me involved in that, love it. Charlie and I have talked about, slowly shifting it to MCAT. It's almost like a child I don't want to give away, but MCAT has provided a lot of support. Vendor contracts are coming at us at a fast pace with your new convention center. AV companies, food and beverage companies, trade show companies, those come with contracts as well. You're looking at someone who's blessed to be around every airline negotiation. In 2019, 0. So now we have a great partnership with the Sarasota Bradenton Airport. We're seeing a lot of success. That's coming with contracts as well. Currently, Jane Roberts, we've worked together for almost 30 years, our chief financial officer and me. We're trying to manage the contracts between the two of us in almost every case. With the quality senior grants writer with Michelle Davis, she's going to find us grants. We're still going to have to administrate those grants when we're awarded them as well. So I'm respectfully asking you to help me bring on a full-time contracts manager to really focus on this day-to-day. I say this with the utmost humility. I think you want me out in the community, out in the marketplace, building relationships and communicating consistently, and not having me at my desk creating and trying to manage contracts. I promise you we'll have success when it comes to that. That's all in the positions. The maintenance building trades worker, y'all approved that a year ago. My fiscal conservative mindset is you're in full-blown construction. Let's wait a year to bring on a trades worker that's going to, make sure that our building is maintained properly day in and day out for those customers that are coming in. So I was just trying to save, $72,000 in the fiscal year that we sit here today. But you've already agreed to that, and we're talking about having Carrie Knight, your property manager, oversee that position because there's just better communication. Better support from that standpoint. Finally, just two other things. The global affairs account key is just that, a bookkeeping thing. Right now, you have a marketing budget, and then you have a domestic division, and you have a global affairs division. Global being UK, Central Europe, and now with that nonstop Amsterdam to Tampa, we're going to start telling you we're going to go ahead and attack the Scandinavian and Dutch market. So right now, Jane would say those monies are commingled, and it's a week-to-week making sure that the right hand knows what the left-handed knows. So what we're recommending is just a bookkeeping, create its own account key for your international market and your domestic, and it just, once again, optimize everything as well. And then finally, the Gulf. The community's done such a great job. The county's done such a great job to serve the Gulf community, and with success, more opportunities come at you. So remember, the Lecom Corn Ferry is kind of our traditional year in and year out golf tournament, Lakewood National. I know a lot of you commissioners have seen it. That organization, Sport 5, have brought us PGA events, World Champions Cup, LPGA. So that is our base. Where I was real happy is it's moved from February to April into a non-peak season. So we're excited about that. Currently, y'all have given us $300,000 a year for PGA events. But when the opportunities come, the WCC, I'll disclose that we're into $500,000 an event. So that'll be for December 24, December 25, and then it'll go to an international market. LPGA at the Bradenton Country Club. I never saw so many happier, longtime stakeholders in this community. I can stand here today, say I don't know if it's coming back or not, but just allow us to have some money if I got to shoot quickly and make that commitment. And if it doesn't come back, then I'll ask Sheila to put that back in reserves. So we're going from $300,000 to an additional up to $500,000. And the ROI is really strong, and they help push in non-peak times of the year. So that's my update. I'm here to answer any questions y'all may have.
Anyone have any questions of Elliot?
No, it's funded. So
fully funded. So
well, at least I'm recommending funding it.
Yes. So thank you, sir.
I'll go away. Thank you. Appreciate the support.
Yeah, quit while you're ahead. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, the next department would be the County Attorney's Office. Their budget is, she supports two programs, the Risk Management Division and the Legal Representation for a budget of $12.5 million. Their base and continuation totals $20 million. And they have not made any requests for this year. We have Ms. Pamela D'Agostino, if you would like to address the board.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair and fellow commissioners. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Is your green light on?
You can barely.
Is your green light on?
The light's on.
It is. There you go.
Forgive me, I have a bit of a scratchy throat. So as you know, I inherited this budget from my predecessor, and for the last 39 days, with the help of Ms. McLean, who was kind enough to meet with me, and the department's office manager, Ms. Patty Nolan, I've analyzed the data, evidencing the volume and the quantity of work that's being performed by the office, and tried to balance that against the expectations of county administration and what I feel this board is desirous of having in terms of prompt, comprehensive, competent legal guidance. And I will do what I can to live within the confines of what my predecessor submitted in terms of the budget. But I will tell you that, last year, based on the numbers I have, there were over 700 discrete matters that were directed to the county attorney's office in one shape or another for us to review. And we are the smallest department that the county has. We only have 26 folks, 5 of those being risk management people. So really you're looking at 21 legal professionals handling over 700 discrete matters in a fiscal year, which is a lot. And we are on track today. We're already at over 500, and we're on track to exceed that number. So accomplishing more work with the same number of people, I anticipate is going to be a challenge, but I understand that this budget process started way before I got here. And so I will leave it up to the board as to whether or not they feel it's appropriate at this time to add folks. If I were here in the beginning of the budget process and had all the information that I have today, I would have been asking for at least 3 more people on the legal end of the house and potentially an additional person to handle all the risk management. But I'll do what I can within the confines that we have.
Commissioner Van Ossenbridge.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The county attorney and I have discussed the general consensus that we don't feel the level of service that the county is receiving from the county attorney's office is adequate. We agree that additional personnel is needed for you to be able to hit that service level. So I'm a little disappointed you weren't asking for people. I'm strongly encouraging you to come back and ask for what is needed for that department to increase the level of service to the administration and to the board.
I understand completely, Commissioner, but when I got involved in the process, with all due respect to Ms. McLean, it was kind of told to me that this is the budget
Sure.
that your predecessor
Well,
brought forth.
you
and
have
didn't
my
ask.
support to come back with requests.
I'll tell you today, my requests are 1 additional attorney, 1 additional paralegal, and an additional legal assistant. But I don't know how that would work out with what's already been accomplished thus far and where we are today. And if we
Sure.
are too late,
I already have several things that I'm going to flag, so I think the money can be found. So.
Commissioner Ballard.
So I agree completely with Commissioner Van Ostenbridge in encouraging you to get the support that you need. I remember specifically asking Bill Clegg last year, are you sure that you don't need additional employees? Because we feel the pinch. Your attorneys in the office seem to feel the pinch. So I think that I think you could use the additional employees and would definitely encourage you to make those asks.
Commissioner Turner.
Yeah, I have to just say, I'm just concurring with that. I mean, in my mind, this is the time for you to step up with those changes. So, yeah, please present so that we can take a look at it, so we know how much money you need.
And I mean, I apologize for jumping back in, but being only 39 days in the job, I think it makes a whole lot of sense to give a little extra leeway for her to present again at a second time if that's needed.
Madam CFO.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Ms.
Madam
Attorney. If I may, the fiscal year 24, and I know that she's just transitioning into her role, approved the $300,000 realignment into her workforce. It's already an approved item, so I am not confident that change has happened or that he has utilized all the funding as he's no longer with us. So we could evaluate those resources to be able to then make that happen for her in fiscal year 24. If the board so chooses, we can bring it up. Well, she has the funding in her budget. She just needs the approval of the FTEs for herself.
So basically, the county attorney, all she needs to do is come to us with it's already funded. She just needs to come and request with the FTEs.
Yes, sir.
Well, she just said it was. The 300,000, I mean,
I'll defer to Ms. McLean. I mean, if she says that the money is there, I trust her in that. But I'm not going to profess to fully understand yet
yes,
all
ma'am.
the budgetary aspects of the employees versus the funding.
Sure.
Just got to identify the salaries. I'm not sure it goes too far with attorneys, 300 grand, but it's going to help, right?
The one attorney position is going to consume half of that right off the top.
Correct. So at this point,
Probably
if
more,
you would like to fund additional in the fiscal year 25, you can flag for us to bring forward these added positions, whether it's one or two or all three of them, and it will bring it into the budget, into the proposed version.
All right, so we have 300 sitting there potentially for the county attorney to add additional positions. If she needs additional funding, we need to come back and say she needs to figure out, between you two, figure out how much more money she needs.
Will do.
Okay.
Okay, so do we need to flag or pull this right now officially, or I think?
No.
Yes. Right?
I would say yes, just to give us the authorization to make it happen in the case that she's not fully funded to bring in either one of those three positions if the board chooses to flag all three positions. If there's insufficient funds in the fiscal year 24 of that $300,000 funding that we could bring in fiscal year 25.
Okay, so we don't know how much the previous county attorney spent of the 300,000 that was allocated to him for positions. Is that correct?
And
We can make that evaluation and tell you right off.
Okay, we need the numbers before we can figure out what we need to do. But I mean, because I have no idea what a county attorney pays.
I'm going to request to pull it, because I think even if we have that 300,000 sitting there, if she is looking for three positions, I don't know that $300,000 is going to cover that anyway.
I'll second.
I would agree. I mean, whatever she needs in the end to get the CAO performing at the level we want is a priority.
Yes.
And it
Agreed.
needs to be done. So I want them to go back, hunker down, and return to the board with some hard numbers.
Okay. Commissioner Ballard requests to be pulled. She has a friend and a second from Commissioner Turner, so I think we're all in agreement to pull that.
I would just like to say, put the full ask in, don't dissect it too much. What's going to make it work? And then we can trim it up from there if we have to.
Yeah.
Will do.
Shoot for the moon, county attorney, and we'll bring you back. We'll bring you back to earth.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will bring it forward on the August 1st. board
Are
meeting.
you done, Madam Attorney? All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
So at this point, the board, we still have two departments, Community and Veteran Services and Information Technology. It's 11:53. Would you like to keep going or recess
Well,
to that?
we're going to power through, and we just hope that Community and Veteran Services and Information Technology will be quick.
As Lee walks forward, again, he's only been with me a little over 6 months. As a reminder, we did move animal services under Community and Veteran Services. We opened a new library, Lakewood Ranch. We have the Rocky Bluff Library under design. We have over 40,000 vets that reside here in Manatee County, and our Veteran Connections outreach programs continuing to grow.
Thanks, Charlie. And thanks for all the support for Community and Veteran Services. Moving into this next fiscal year, we really, for our 7 programs and 1 grants program, the focus we had was on 3 positions, 1 in support of our veterans and the other 2 in support of our library system. Recommendation for funding comes for the Veteran Services position. It's going to have a huge impact. So you have already approved, and we're in the process of training new counselors. But right now, the backlog for veteran appointments is about 4 weeks, and we want to do better than that. And it takes a while to get counselors that are trained, so that will help when they're fully trained, and we have the turnover to account for. But most importantly, what was identified by Renee Mendita was a position of an intake coordinator. So they're specially trained to take a case, take the initial calls, and really go into the VA system, enter the data that's having to be put in by counselors. So ultimately, it will speed up what counselors do when the individuals come in for appointments, and will have a big impact. Overall, our client interaction in 2023 New clients were 2,097. Total appointments were 2,371. Calls and emails were 24,751. And the letters that we've sent out in support of our veterans are 651. So that's going to grow. 40,000 is already, I'm sure, a higher number as the county population. So what you'll see in the end with this one is improved customer service, operational efficiency, and critical functions supported. So it was, again, recommended as a funded operation, and I think it will make a big impact, and we can come back to you and show you what that means for us in terms of appointment, time saved, and number of veterans served. The other two positions for the library were recommended as not funded. The first one in priority order is it's a new system and technology library in position. The libraries use a system called the Integrated Library System. It's critical for patron-facing catalog and back-end operations. So really, it's like a front-end to back-end complete operation of all the things that are, how many books are out, what's being ordered, all those type of things. This position is being handled by different county employees that have pieces of it that are already doing their other jobs. It's like an additional duty. So this would be a full-time to administer and configure the system, compliance and maintenance, and solution implementation and advisory stuff as it pertains to the system. So it's an efficiency, but it was recommended it's not funded. The final position that we pushed forward was for an additional collection development and management librarian. There was one that was approved for the last fiscal year. That person is now hired, so we do have one on board, and this would be a second one. I think for this one, we can, without making a request, we can push that to next fiscal year. We do have somebody on board, and then we can reevaluate the need. So I would not ask at this point in time. I think we can move forward with that in the unfunded category. And subject to your questions, that completes our ask from Community and Veteran Services.
Thank you, Colonel. You guys have done a great job. It's really stepped up in community and veteran affairs, and we appreciate all the hard work you and your staff are doing. You guys have really taken it and moved it down the street. Yes, sir, Commissioner Bearden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So our wait time's around 4 weeks. Adding that extra additional person, will that cut us down a week? Is adding an extra person cutting our wait time down a week?
It may be even more than that, because what this person is specially trained and certified to be able to take a lot of the HIPAA information and other stuff that comes in from a veteran to be able to build the case. They use a client management system over there, and to be able to build that ahead of time. So by the time the client comes in to talk to the veterans counselor, instead of the veterans counselor taking that information and inputting that all, it's already there.
Okay.
So then you speed up your throughput in the number of veterans that you'll be able to see. So I think this position will have huge impact for overall relatively minimal salary costs to the county. The impact that we'll see will be big. I don't want to promise a specific number yet because we don't know, but we will definitely cut down on our appointment times.
Got it. County Administrator Bishop, when do we plan on really launching Veterans Connections as far as a marketing platform goes, to really push it out there? Because here's my only concern with just adding one, is once we push Veterans Connections out, I think you're going to may need another person, is what I'm saying. I mean, we have 40,000 veterans. We start pushing that message out there. I don't want us to be backlogged within 6 weeks. So is there a way to have a tentative way to say, hey, look, listen, we're requesting one person with a tentatively adding another person once we get, the message out there for Veterans Connections, so that we can prepare to make sure that those wait times are always going to be cut down significantly?
So it's a good question, Commissioner. One of the things that I've talked about with the administrator, is adding another counselor position, because we know we're growing and we want to do more outreach, right? We want to push our counselors to different areas. Tunnels to Towers, when it stood up, if we do the second floor of the Lakewood Ranch Library, we'd put somebody out there, just keep them out in the community, spread out, instead of just down here in our downtown facility. So that is our goal, and ultimately that will require another counselor. I think that's best suited for next fiscal year when we start the process because of the training time. It takes them about a year to do all the things that they need to do with the VA. And if we throw another body right now, because we've asked Renee that it will not help them in the short term. As far as the Veterans Connections go, the initial thing is just a complete revamp of the website. We brought the intern in, the young man that you met the other day or yesterday, and he's already having a huge impact on what that's going to look like. So just making that little piece better. And then at the same time, a lot of what we're going to be doing is connecting our veterans not necessarily to our own capabilities and our focus on benefits. Yes, that will increase, as you said, but it's to all the other agencies that are out there that provide veteran support. It's extremely difficult for a veteran, as you know, sir, to navigate all the things that are available to you. There's a ton. So how do we get them more quickly and in a better and more efficient manner to their needs? They have needs, and how do we help them navigate to that? And that's a big component of Veteran Connections.
Yeah, you have done a phenomenal job within just the last few months that we've been working together, and it's just, I tell you what, the innovative step in the direction that you and your team are heading is amazing to me, and I'm just happy and proud of all the work that you guys have done so far. So thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to add, it started with one breakfast about 5 months ago with the leadership team, and look how far we've come. I also want to give kudos to Sarah Brown, who also oversees Veteran Services along with Probation and Animal Services. The connection, no pun intended, between those three have already proved invaluable. I think our resource center, once it's up and running here in the next few years, is also going to be a great addition, where more likely we're going to need additional support then too.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And I appreciate the comments. It is a great team. It's an amazing team. Renee's doing a great job on her end, and it's only getting expanding across the county, all of the different things that are happening. So I appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Madam CFO.
Lee DiPaolo also oversees the other county-funded programs, and we will be looking at those in the afternoon to give them more time to vet through them because they're quite vast.
What do you mean afternoon?
On Monday, on the 17th.
Okay, thank
The
you.
rest of the departments, I'm sorry, I apologize.
The afternoon. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Hungry staff here, CFO. We got to get through this. Come on.
I apologize. On the 17th in the afternoon, the rest of the departments will be presenting.
Thank you for clearing it up, Madam CFO.
Sorry, apologize. Okay, so that moves us to the last department of the day. It's Information Technology. Director Drew Richardson. He has 6 programs with a budget of $28.8 million.
Again, I want to commend Drew and his whole team. Cybersecurity is on the forefront. We've had, like I mentioned Saturday, we had a great meeting with leadership on ins and outs on how to look out for that and how we can do a better job with that. We're recommending a significant increase in your budget for cybersecurity. With that said, though, I commend Drew and his team for everything they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. So we really only had 4 positions. All of them are recommended unfunded. I would actually drop one of them because I think we have a many hands make light work approach. That would be the AI position. We've established a working group. All the departments are going to be a part of it. We're going to land on an AI strategic plan. We in IT, I know support from County Administrator Bishop, believe that AI is probably where we're going to gain the most efficiencies in our workforce, right? And so as we can leverage those efficiencies, there's ROI, cost-benefit analysis are done, and we can advance things. But our approach to that with a public-private partnership with a vendor who's going to run a workshop that will culminate in an AI strategic plan for the county is on the books for the week of August 5th. So we will have that AI strategic plan a week or so after that we will be sharing. And so I would like to drop that request off of there because I believe we're going to get there with our approach. The SCADA position is more in the cybersecurity bucket. that is to work with our utilities department. As you all are aware, there are nation states are looking at our critical infrastructure, our industrial control systems, operational technology, all these buzzwords and acronyms that kind of fit to our freshwater and our wastewater operations here in the county. We need someone to work between IT, our vendors, and the utilities department to kind of have that triumvirate of support. Those would be assessments, remediation, operations and maintenance, and anything in that space that position could cater to. And then the next positions, we established for the first time on October 1st of this fiscal year, so this is about a 9-month operation, our first full-time employee fulfilling what we call the business relationship role, or business relationship manager, or BRM role. What those folks do is they'll sit down with the departments and say, hey, look, departments, you have these great ideas, right? We need to bring these to fruition. This is going to save us money, but how do we get from A to B? What does the process look like? How do we evaluate the software? And that's what these BRMs do. And since we have one for 9 months now, our total projects in our portfolio has gone up from 38 to 61. That's a 60% increase in 9 months. Our active projects has gone from 28 to 49. That's a 75% increase. Our on-hold projects has also risen from 9 to 12 to 25%. So we're getting that backlog. And one of the first questions I might ask if, hey, your portfolio is getting bigger, are you still getting stuff done, or are you just adding stuff to the list and your portfolio is growing? We are on pace to close the most projects, IT projects, in this fiscal year than we've ever closed. So while that is happening, we are generating these ideas. They do go through a total cost of ownership analysis, cost benefit analysis, and what we try to do is implement projects that are going to save us money. I'll give a shameless plug to our HR director. Just changing our schedule, our UKG scheduler, for emergency events and getting the shift work is saving us $18,000 a year. It's a 6-week project, a quick hitter. We got in, got it done, and that's $18,000 in perpetuity. And when we're in this inflation economy, saving money is, I mean, gosh, breaking even is a win, and we're finding ways to save money. So these two positions in this business relationship management space, one would be a supervisor. We have one person that's being managed by a senior manager. And then one would be another one of the business relationship managers. So we believe that these are the folks that help bring the ideas to life from our departments. Our departments have great ideas. We can't always get them to the finish line. These are the folks that are going to help us get there. So that would sum up the request from ITS.
All right, are there any questions of Drew regarding IT?
Just to confirm, so your AI plan is almost like you're going to cross-train multiple folks and then bring in an outside vendor. Is that what I'm understanding? Versus having one dedicated position?
So what we're going to do, and I believe this BRM topic we're talking right here, AI is going to be a component because they're talking about all technologies, all systems, all needs of the department, right? And so AI would be one of the components or bullets in that. What we've done is we've established an AI work group. The departments have just given us 3, 4, 5, 6 folks from each department.
That makes sense, right?
And we're
It's going to touch everyone
monthly.
anyway, so
Yep.
that makes sense.
And then we'll bring in the vendor who's going to do the 4-day workshop in August. The output from that is an AI strategic plan. And then we'll continue that AI work group that we've already established post that workshop to make sure that we're staying on top of those items.
Okay, I like it. Thanks, Drew.
All right, anybody else? Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Well, yes, sir.
I'm just waiting for red flag time. Just let me know.
So we have come to the conclusion of today's work session. We will re-engage back on Monday where we will see the budgets for the constitutionals, except the sheriff, supervisor of elections, and the property appraiser. And yes, for the sake of time, I will move that in the afternoon of the 17th. There's 3 more departments that will be seen for, and this project. And we're just moving it for the sake of time, to the afternoon of the, okay, but we will see those then.
All right.
All right.
Commissioner
Okay.
Van
Thank you,
Ossenberg has a few questions, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. So I guess my question is, if I have things from today's meeting to red flag, should I red flag those now, or should I
Yes,
keep
sir.
my note? Okay. So I'll start with, Madam Attorney, you want me to go by each position, or do you want me to just lump them by department together, or should I list all of them and then red flag at once?
Honestly, I would defer that to Ms. McLean so that she can keep track of all the various requests you have in the way that makes the most sense for her and the various departments that may be implicated.
Okay.
Easier for the commissioners, just flag the department with the position or with the item that
Okay.
you're intending to flag.
Okay.
We
So
get the
I'll
rest.
start with sports and leisure. I'm going to red flag the rec coordinator and the division manager position. I need a second for that, though. Holding on.
So the division manager is unfunded. Are you saying that you would like that to be funded?
No, I would like to pull both positions. I think that they can make do with the staff that they currently have.
But I thought they were unfunded.
They're unfunded.
They're unfunded.
They're not being paid.
Correct. Okay, so they will not be funded. They'll be
Correct.
pulled, and even when they go to sit down to reconfigure this budget and try to fund unfunded things, they will not be on the list.
My understanding is if it's listed as unfunded, it's not going to be funded in the absence of.
Unless we pull it.
Unless we
Correct.
pull it. So those are unfunded, and so you want them to stay unfunded. That's correct, right?
Correct.
Right.
In other words, I don't want to see those positions funded.
Well, the process of pulling is for the board to identify something that they want to be funded that right now is not.
Or, I mean, we could,
Or
or
unfunded.
unfund something.
Or unfund something.
unfund
And
something
if
that's
something is sitting there that's unfunded, and I want to make it clear that I don't want it funded, and you can just mark it off the list.
It'll stay off.
You can make that comment.
Okay, I would like rec coordinator and division manager taken off the list. Of course, I'm one person, so here I sit with, do I need a second? What is the process, essentially, is my
It's already
question.
unfunded.
I just don't think it's necessary.
It's already,
Gotcha.
you can't unfund enough.
Really unfunded, like they
So
have
I
to give
didn't
us
write
money.
down I didn't write down whether every single one was funded or unfunded
It wasn't
until I got
really
further down.
unfunded.
Right.
Fund another one.
So when we go to FMD,
We can show them. and
your
you
three, can you pull your three positions for FMD then, please?
Yes.
Can you show me those? I think you had one funded and two unfunded off of memory.
I have the debt manager unfunded and the fiscal specialist for sports and leisure unfunded.
Both all unfunded.
Yeah, the
Okay.
other one is
I'm-
unfunded, but we were able to find.
How do you reallocated, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, so I'm good with those being unfunded. The environmental specialist under environmental lands, was that funded or unfunded?
Unfunded.
That was listed as unfunded.
Perfect, okay, I want that unfunded as well. And then the two librarian positions in CVS, were those funded or unfunded? I believe they were unfunded.
Unfunded.
Okay, well, I like those unfunded as well. And then the AI position, Drew already took
Unfunded.
care of that, so we're good. All right.
Well, he asked for a SCADA, which is unfunded for cybersecurity.
He did ask for the SCADA, but I'm familiar with that and talked to Evan, and I understand the need there, so I wasn't going to request to unfund that. So
So it's going to stay unfunded.
it'll stay unfunded
Okay.
unless Evan can find the money somehow.
You're just going to make me be very creative in the next few months.
Yes, sir, that's your job. That's why we pay you the big bucks.
So, Madam CFO, if the division managers, with regards to Commissioner Van Bridges unfunding, really unfunding, if they wanted to defend, if they wanted extra unfunded, if they wanted to come back and defend those positions, they can, correct? If they're saying, I understand what you're saying, but I found, I'm defending that position, and we need that to be approved as a funded position.
If you think you want from here to Monday afternoon, you want to bring back anything that you've seen today and want to flag it to be funded, or if it's funded and you want to unfund it, you still have the opportunity on Monday afternoon to do that.
Okay, that's fine. I just didn't know if the division manager is given an opportunity to defend the position they want. It's listed as unfunded, and they want it to be funded when we approve the budget.
That's what they were just doing.
Can
know,
they
but-
come back a second round?
Okay, all right,
Yeah, just did, yes.
okay.
Okay, well then
Go
that
find money.
closes our, does anybody have any other comments?
No, I was waiting to hear the rest of the departments. I've been taking my notes, but it's hard to tell really what should or shouldn't be pulled until we get a full understanding of what every department needs to determine priority.
Correct. So we still have the opportunity on the afternoon of Monday, once you've seen all the other four. They were just so large that they're going to eat up like probably an hour of time. So,
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions of Madam CFO? If not, we're going to open up for citizens' comment. Seeing no citizens, I'll go ahead and close citizens' comment, and we will stand adjourned.
okay, thank you so much.
He'll be here later.